TORC, the off-road championship, is stomping back again into the baddest of all tracks, Crandon International Off-Road Raceway. It's known as the Big House, and it's the center of the world of short course dirt racing. Launching to over 100 miles an hour from the aptly named Land Rush start, tires barely in contact with Mother Earth through the infamous Turn 1. Door-to-door banging all the way to the checkered. Crandon never disappoints. No matter the weather, thousands spray the elements to bear witness as the sport's biggest names battle each other and the track to claim dominance overall. Last time in round 5, the Big House Brawl delivered as promised. Catching serious Crandon roost most of the race, Pro Light's Kyle Kleiman finally got past Sean Morris to lead the champagne spray. Luke Johnson tried valiantly to pull in Brad Lovell, but it was not to be as Brad claimed his first ever Pro 2 win. And in the Pro 4s, Ross Hook held the lead for a few precious laps, but ultimately it was the local boy done good, CJ Greaves. But whose turn is it today to claim the top step and bow to the crowd, to soak up the accolades, while the rest lick their wounds and toil through days ahead, perhaps dreaming of vengeance? Well, the wait is over as we're ready to unleash the fire-breathing hell of off-road fury upon the masses, and that includes you. From Crandon International Off-Road Raceway, this is TORC, the Off-Road Championship. It rained throughout the evening and more is expected throughout the day, but these drivers can handle it. The best in short course off-road are here at the Big House. The Big House Brawl for stop number 6 of TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL. Welcome to the Big House, Crandon, Wisconsin. Hi, everybody. I'm Robbie Floyd, joined by Pro 2 driver Luke Johnson. You'll see him race here in just a moment. But, Luke, when you show up to Crandon, you expect the unexpected. Rain, it was in the forecast. It did it. They're packing the track literally as we speak. But it has to feel special here at Crandon when you strap in for that first time, knowing you're heading to that first turn at 90-plus miles an hour.
48 years of heritage here, the granddaddy of them all, Crandon Off-Road. This is the place to make stuff happen. If you're going to have a win, this is the place you want to feel it.
Speaking of that, Brad Lovell gets his first win, and it was a head-to-head matchup between you and him, and it lasted the entire race, and he came out on top.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday we had a great battle, and he used that energy of Crandon to push him up to the front. I tried shaking a mistake, but it was him that came out on top. It's his first win, something he's never done before. Hopefully, I'll keep him from doing it again.
We'll see about that. Well, Kate Osborne's caught up with the other half of that head-to-head matchup.
Catching up in the pits here with the winner of Pro 2's Round 5, Brad Lovell. Now, Brad, this one was a long time coming for you, your first win in Pro 2. The pressure you must have had on that final lap, walk us through it.
Well, you know, I was really doing my best to just stick with it. I'm coming down the backstretch. I was just screaming at myself in the helmet, you know, keep going, don't give up. And then every lap, I'd take a nice deep breath going in turn 1 and just delicately throw it through there. So there was a lot of pressure, but, you know, I was running hard and running a pace I could do all day.
Now, speaking of that, it's round 6. You're running a pace in round 5 that you could do all day. Can you do it again?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we're in a great position here to try to take this win again. Luke Johnson putting a lot of pressure on us there. I kept seeing him poke his nose in. It's all about getting the whole shot. We got it this last time, so I think the weather's going to be good, and we got a good shot at it.
And he said that if that weather turns out the way he thinks it is, his truck is definitely going to be set up the right way.
Thanks, Kate. You can see the clouds rolling in. It's sunny now. We'll see how long it stays that way, but no doubt about it, there's going to be several trucks hitting this track at high speed. 3 different classes of race trucks. We're going to start off with the Pro 4-wheel drives, and they're the biggest, baddest of all of them. But Pro 2s, Pro Lights, there's differences between the classes, differences between the drivers, but it's either way, you're going to be hauling here at Crandon.
Absolutely, Robbie. Glad to be joining you again in the booth. But we're going to have the Pro 4s off the top of the show here. We got the Cup race later this afternoon, so seeing the big boys up front.
Yeah, the Pro 4s are the premier class, up to 900 horsepower. There's been some changes in the rules between last year and this year. The biggest thing with the Pro 4s is they brought down the RPMs, I think. You know, that's really kind of affected some of the motors that were wanting to really twist those high RPMs, but that will be a big factor in today. But either way, you're twisting it for all it's worth here at Crandon.
Okay.
As you see the starting lineup from inside to outside, Ross Hook will set the pace, or at least have the advantage taking that inside line into that fast right-hand turn. Next to him will be Scott Douglas, Kent White Lightning Brasho. We have Keegan Kincaid, Johnny Greaves, CJ Greaves, Chad Horde, and Al Drews working their way on the outside. It actually looks like CJ is going to be on the farthest outside in that Monster Energy Toyota. But so far, CJ has pretty much dominated 2017. He's going to be on the outside heading into that first turn. It could be really good or really bad.
Well, with today's conditions, the track's quite a bit heavier, and that's going to be an even bigger challenge for CJ today. But as we saw yesterday with Ross Hook and that ATD machine grabbing the whole shot and leading the first part of the race, not only that, but he brought home yesterday's Vision Wheels Mofo Award.
Yeah, that's right. That was the last round. We're talking about this round now, and we have to look at Ross Hook on the far left. He will be closest to that turn, but closest also means pinching in, getting tight into that right-hander. Looking at Cowboy, he comes across as everybody's all right. After he gives a thumbs up, he will look up towards Face Desi. He gives a thumbs up as well. We'll see red go to yellow, yellow go to green, and of course, green means go here at Crandon and everywhere. There's the yellow. Let's look at the starting line. We're about to kick things off for the Pro four-wheel drive. A great jump by Ross Hook again. It looks like Scott Douglas actually a little squirrely on the line, turns left.
He's going to have quite the lead. You see Keegan getting a good run as well. Drag race there with Johnny Greaves. But looks like Johnny's going to get the edge over the top of the corner.
And Johnny getting a face full of dirt and mud for that matter, because it is pretty wet. There's been a few sportsman classes today, but now we're talking about the baddest of the bad. That inside line you can tell is much drier than the outside.
CJ Greaves making quick work getting up into that third spot, and Scott Douglas off to a better start today, dropping up into fourth.
Well, remember, Scott was up front, and then Johnny spins around. He collects, Scott Douglas in the process, and Johnny's not waiting around. He says, I'm not following for 2 laps. I'm getting by as quick as I can at this round. And Johnny Greaves, the only other winner besides CJ in 2017.
As you see Johnny trying to get some trucks between him and his son, as he's now starting to stretch a lead over Ross Hook. And CJ up in that third position.
One thing to look for also is after lap 4, we will have a mandatory competition caution. That's where they re-rack and restack nose to tail, but you see CJ Greaves trying to do the opposite of Ross Hook. CJ's going to be inside. The Pro 4s can grab a lot more than you'll see the 2s and lights do, and he's set up perfectly on the inside. If he can run up next to him, he can really control Ross.
Yeah, well, we'll see if Ross can carry it around the outside here. He's going to have a big run. Looks pretty slick down there on the bottom.
CJ gave him a lot, didn't he?
CJ gave him quite a bit of room, but Ross ran out there in the mud, so now you're going to have CJ moving up in the second spot to go chase down Dad.
Scott Douglas as well. You see him just behind in that Amsoil machine. These Pro 4s squared it up, wanting to get down low because it kind of sets you straight towards these jumps as well.
Keegan's still getting a hold of that truck. You can see him and Scott trying to push forward together. Got a little bobble there off the top of the show, but definitely good to see Scott back up in the mix.
Keegan Kincaid's been fast with a brand new truck, his own program in Pro 4-wheel drive, had power steering issues at ERX, but right now he's trying to get by Scott Douglas, who's trying to get by Ross Hook. Scott goes underneath the Ross, see if Keegan can follow suit. He's going to follow in the tracks, not able to do it there, but now we're seeing the real Scott Douglas. I talked to him this morning, and you see him in that Amsoil number 7, and I was like, man, you just have no luck this year at all, or if you do, it's been all bad luck.
Ross again, the victim of that thick cushion today. As you see Keegan moving up into the 4th position, making quick work there. Let's see if he can track down Scott Douglas.
Keegan Kincaid with those Cooper tires, the number 2 driver out of Crandon, Wisconsin. Yes, this is his backyard, the Amsoil Traxxas machine. Moving up, taking over one more position, and now CJ knocking on the door. Might be doing a little more than knocking as he goes outside trying to get underneath, but Johnny still leaves CJ 1 and 2. Greaves, the differences between these two guys, one running a carbureted engine, that would be CJ on the inside, Johnny running the fuel injection, and CJ working good down that straight.
It looked like CJ used Johnny to gauge the braking zone coming down to the hairpin and gave him that advantage coming out.
Let's go down to Kate Osborne.
As Johnny and CJ are battling right now, Johnny earlier said that CJ has that upper hand on the tree turn. Keep an eye on that tree turn. He and Keegan both have been running that upper line in Pro 2, and with the weather condition right now, it's really pushing them to want to run that Pro 2 line, that high line. And Johnny knows right now that that is a place that CJ has an advantage, and you can pretty much guarantee that Johnny will do all he can to capitalize on it.
You CJ running in there and actually tapping him and bringing him around both drivers, and Johnny's going to have to throw her in reverse to even get out of that or spin around to the right. CJ got into the door, and I know Johnny cannot be happy.
It's actually the other way around.
I got it backwards.
That is CJ who's backwards, just like yourself. But Johnny's now got the lead. You know, not going to let the kid run away with it too soon. That now moves Keegan up into that second spot.
All right, let's take a look at it again. So CJ is in front. Johnny gets into the door.
Looks like he bobbles a little bit. Johnny carrying a little bit more momentum, gets into the door. CJ, they both try to let it go. CJ locks up the brakes, and Johnny squeaks around the inside.
You called it right. With the both black and green liveries out there, it makes things even tougher for me. But you see the mutant on the side. And one thing about it, between Johnny and CJ, CJ knows that Johnny is more aggressive. And you would think the older might not be that way, but that is definitely the case for the man.
Johnny's definitely got a raw sense of style when it comes to driving, and you're going to see that.
Is that how you call it? Raw sense of style.
Raw sense of style. I guess that's the way I'm going to put it. But you know, it doesn't matter whether it's his son or another fellow competitor. He's going to put it all on the line, because at the end of the day, he wants that top spot. After
2 laps complete, they're on lap 3 of 9. You see that cushion. Johnny trying to drive that. Might be able to get a little lower. There's no need to. Keep those tires nice and cool. Find that cushion, move it around, give yourself a little bit wider track to work with later. Temperatures have been awesome this weekend for racing. I mean, our truck hardly got over 200 degrees yesterday, so these trucks are definitely loving the cool air and the moisture in the track, that's for sure. As you can see, we have Chad Hort starting to get in the groove of things. Unfortunately, he was out of the race early in round 5. It's good to see him in the mix today. Yeah, Chad Hort on that Podsy Lucas entry, trying to get by Chad Hort, the ATD transmission number 10. Hort squares it up early, sets it up. He's going to get a good drive here. I think it's going to be a repeat of what we saw earlier with that CJ originally. They got underneath the drag race. And you see Ross kind of getting a little wider. He was holding that outside line, and he started sneaking towards the inside. Well, I've noticed Ross has picked up a little bit of a push here. He keeps getting out into that thick mud, holding off Chad Hort here for another lap. But Chad Hort definitely putting the pressure on that ATD machine. Chad having some mechanical issues, dropping back at the last round. No problems for the leader right now. Johnny Greaves, Keegan Kincaid, Scott Douglas, 1, 2, and 3. CJ Greaves back in 7th place. They will start nose to tail after this lap has been completed, but not where CJ wanted to be. The series points leader way back in the field. Johnny's kind of got it on cruise control right now, and you see him as he takes the yellow and red flag. That means we're 4 laps complete, but still more than half to go. A 2.2 second advantage over Keegan Kincaid will be no more. Scott Douglas in 3rd. Hook, Hort, Brasho, Greaves. We've got a lot going on here at TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL. The second half of this race when we return.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Cooper tires on the ground, go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty, and what you need. The tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
Welcome back to Crandon, Wisconsin for TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL. We're in the big house, and I'm sitting next to the big man, LJ14, Luke Johnson, my guest partner here for this afternoon. And as soon as Luke leaves, Johnny Greaves, the man out in front right now, will take his spot. So we're intermixing throughout the day. Cam Reimers, well, I'll see him later on in the Pro Light class. I'm talking to him earlier. I was like, hey, we're having guests come in. He's like, I want in. We'll see about it. We'll see. Johnny Greaves right now is out in front, and his son well back in the field. Look at CJ back there in 7th, something we don't expect, but a little aggressive driving by Johnny Greaves really cost CJ's chances.
And with Keegan Kincaid running that 2nd spot, currently holding down the fastest lap of the race, should be interesting this whole 2nd half.
In that acceleration zone, you see the green flag. Keegan is really, really tight, as well as Scott Douglas back there in 3rd. The 2 and 7 both want a piece of these Toyotas.
You see Keegan peeking to the outside like we said yesterday.
Nice move.
Wasting no time getting down to the inside, and the 2 is around the 22 machine.
And Johnny was riding a very, driving a very conventional line. He should have been a little more defensive on that first lap.
You see Johnny looking back to the inside here, but Keegan carrying that speed and that cat machine. Let's see if he can start putting some gaps on him. He put down the fastest lap prior to the caution, so let's see if he can stretch out a lead.
You also see a place here and there, maybe a little hole developing. Again, the track workers have done an amazing job getting it where it's at, but they don't want to, do too much. You don't want to throw a bunch of water on an already wet track as well. So you're going to have to be a racer. Look way ahead. If the track's changing, make those adjustments.
But as you can see, the lines are getting pushed out, the cushion's getting further and further out, and the race line's getting wider and wider, giving these guys more options to make passes. So if I'm in Johnny's spot, I'm going to see where Keegan's a little bit faster at this point, and maybe go for a sneak attack in the last 2 laps.
Here in those 900 horsepower motors just winding down that front straightaway. Keegan Kincaid, he's driven Pro 4s before, back when he was driving the Traxxas trucks of the Jenkins, but now it's his own program, and he built this truck, or his father did. Jeff Kincaid from scratch, and kind of a learning process, a building process. He didn't know what to expect that very first round, and he proved it that it's a solid truck, no mechanicals, but the next round, the RX, minor issue with the power steering, but that is very minimal.
It's very minimal. There's a lot to expect coming into a new truck, of having things work out as well, and only 5 rounds of races, should be 6. This truck's working fantastic.
Let's go down to Kid Osborne.
That number 2 of Keegan Kincaid in his hometown track has had something to prove out there today. He said that in round 5, one thing that he noticed that was different than he's ever really felt is he was extremely distracted. So one of the things that he said, he was getting in the truck today, trying to not think about the fact that he's in a new truck, trying not to think about the manual transmission, but just trying to be a driver that he knows he can do and knows he can be. And right now you can see Keegan Kincaid is working that truck and is trying to get his first place here in Pro 4.
That patent cat machine running up front, Keegan is definitely working good today. And like Kate said, that manual transmission is something new for Keegan this year. His past Pro 4 performances have been with an automatic transmission. So as you can see, Keegan's finally starting to get a hold of that thing.
Yeah, but it enables you to have grab more gears, be in a lower gear than you wouldn't necessarily be in an automatic. Johnny's used to it. He even talks about how as he really backs it in there, and that's a Pro 4. You can do that, grab that bottom line, but Johnny talks about how he has to keep that offhand busy. I mean, even if he's not shifting, he's still doing something with his offhand.
Well, much like Keegan's father, Jeff, Johnny had a long time in the 4-cylinder Pro Light category, so transferring over to the Pro 4, manual transmission is all that man knows, and he knows how to work it well. So you can see he's turning that raw style up like I talked about earlier. He sent it off the skybox jump, and he's not going to let Keegan slip away.
Johnny Greaves in 2nd place, trying to track down Keegan Kincaid. 3rd spot, Chad Horde, his return to TORC for 2017. 4th place, Scott Douglas, 5 seconds back of him. CJ Greaves still in 5th place. They made a little contact. I don't know if there was any damage done to CJ, but I'm surprised, really, that he hasn't made more passes than he has.
With that slowed momentum, he might be having some trouble with the 4-wheel drive. As you saw, it kind of locked up and change angle there in the finish line corners. Be curious to see what's happening with that 33 truck.
Maybe the 4 is now a 2-wheel drive?
It is, and it doesn't necessarily change into a Pro 2 when the front-wheel drive goes out. It turns those trucks into quite a handful. Never driven a Pro 4 myself, but over the years here and hearing about the situations, it doesn't just automatically turn into a Pro 2 truck. You see
getting a little dry there, and Johnny wants that inside to work, and there's Chad Horde. There's CJ Greaves now up into 4th as he gets by Scott Douglas. So every position's just another couple of points, but right now he's got his work cut out for him if he's going to catch up to Horde or his dad out in front. And you see that race coming to the finish line, getting closer and closer. 2 laps to go. Keegan Kincaid leads this, but Johnny is all over him looking for some place to pass.
Like I said, Johnny's amazing, stalking his prey right now. He's putting the move on the inside. See if he got it. Keegan can get a good run. He might be having some temp issues. I know they were talking about that yesterday. So
that was a big mistake out of Keegan right there in a place that I didn't really expect, especially fours. You can really grab that bottom line. You did it in the last round.
Well, with the track getting rougher, Keegan was experiencing some power steering issues at the last race, so he may be experiencing that as the track gets rougher. So as you can see, Keegan not giving up the fight, getting a good run down here, trying to. They'll be coming to the white flag this time around. And
we don't know if that's the case, but you're right. If you lose power steering, it's not just making it hard throughout that turning issue. It's like a start and stop, and it just makes it nearly impossible to drive these trucks. But they fight through it, and Keegan Kincaid's fighting with Johnny Greaves right now. Johnny and Keegan 1 and 2. It says 4/10, but it looks even closer than that. You're either the hunter or the hunted, and right now Johnny Greaves is being hunted down by Keegan Kincaid. And the next time around, they will get that white flag.
You see Keegan sending it long down in there. He's going to give it everything he's got. Johnny with a huge mistake.
That really helped him, man. When all is said and done, that helped him because Keegan had to let off the throttle.
Yeah, no, it did, and it helped set Johnny back down. This is going to be a race to the wire here. Keegan had a good run. Let's see what he's got for.
A high no factor, and there's a place where Johnny made the pass. Keegan tried to do the slide job, makes the contact. We've got a drag race, the fastest part of Crandon right here as they head into a sharp hairpin turn. One of the most pivotal turns right here, especially as tight as Keegan is.
You see Johnny running block and going down to that inside. Let's see if Keegan can get a good run here off the corner and get Johnny going down in turn 1.
One heck of a drag race.
You saw CJ make the pass on the inside here going into turn 1.
Johnny's got to close him down somewhat. Keegan's
gonna make him take the long way around out there in the fluff.
That's so rough. Are they going to make contact, or are they? Look at them. They're both set up wrong, but Keegan sets up in the fluff. A good drive. Johnny's in position. Keegan trying to drive around him.
Keegan with the run on the outside. Maybe crossover here. Johnny looking wide.
Spotters in his ear, guaranteed right there.
I can imagine we're going to see a defensive line here out of Johnny. Keegan not giving up the fight in that Vision Wheels machine.
The Method Wheels truck just in front of him. Johnny Greaves, one more turn to go. There's the right. You got to go inside, but you'll lose all that momentum. Keegan squares it up, dives to the inside. We've got a drag race to the finish line, but Johnny Greaves takes his second win of the year, and what a race to kick off round 6 here at TORC, the Off-Road Championship. Unofficially, Johnny Greaves, Keegan Kincaid, and Chad Horde 1, 2, and 3, and we'll hear from them when we come back. And the crazy thing is, Luke, you go out from the booth onto the track, and Johnny Greaves will hop into the booth here in just a bit. Stick with us.
Turo Trailblade Tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
When it comes to guarding your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance enthusiasts demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
TORC, the Off-Road Championship, is brought to you by AMSOIL, devoted to protection, and by Cooper Tires. We make tires for people, not just cars.
What an amazing day it's already been with one race in the books. That's the Pro 4-Wheel Drives, and taking his second victory of the year is Johnny Greaves. And with that, he is now the Pro 4 points leader as well. Luke, you said it at the top of the show. If there's one race you want to win a year, it's at Crandon, and Johnny Greaves did just that. Let's send it down to Kate Osborne, who's with our winner. And yeah, you can see how happy he was in a very aggressive drive out of Johnny Greaves.
Robbie, you are right. Aggressive indeed. Johnny, you have won so many races in your lifetime as a racer, but how gratifying is a win like that, knowing you are going door to door and it's a drag race to the finish line?
Well, you know, the overall race in the end was a blast. I mean, Keegan got me clean, and then I got back and got underneath him and stuff. And, you know, the biggest bummer is what happened with me and CJ. And, you know, I'm pretty sure deep down inside when he thinks about it, he knows I'm not going to do that on purpose. I was just a little lower than him, and he stepped out, and we touched, and I hit the brakes, and it was too late. He was already, you know, sideways, and I hate that, but part of father and son racing, and, you know, I'll get mine one day, I guess. But overall, it was a blast. I mean, the track, you know, the lane and a half that was out there was really good, and it made it really hard to make a move, and you had to pretty much surprise the guy out there. So Max's tires were great down low. I couldn't believe it. It was hooked up, and I could tell I could get underneath Keegan a little bit here and there, and, you know, he was battered out in the cushion. But overall, Monster Energy, Toyota, Max's, Fox Shock, Potawatomis are here cheering us on. Method Wheels, everything held up great, and that crew, they kicked butt.
Aggressive driving indeed, but he's taken the win. Johnny Greaves.
That's right, Caden, aggressively in the lead, not only of this race, as you take a look at the unofficial results. Yeah, I mean, you take that Yamaha checker flag first is all good, but when you kind of took your son out of the mix, you know he felt a little bad about that. But Kincaid, Horde, the top three. You see CJ only able to give 4, so Johnny's going to have a few more points advantage.
Well, from going all the way to the back, that's damage control for CJ trying to win a championship.
Let's go back down to Kate Osborne, is with Keegan Kincaid. He's been fast. He's just that one spot away, Kate.
Yeah, you're right, Robbie. He does say every time he's out of this truck, he's getting better and better. It's getting better and better. Keegan, how much confidence is that giving you, knowing that you are running, you're closing in on these Greaves guys, which you've been trying to get all season long?
Oh, that was a blast. That's probably the most fun I've had in a long time in a racetrack. And, you know, it was cool because, you know, usually I'm battling CJ, and that was John, and we were just letting it hang out there, you know, and that was fun. I had a blast. You know, I made one mistake. Well, my fuel pressure light came on and made me look down for that split second, and I made a mistake. And John capitalized on it, but we were battling back hard, and I can't thank these Cooper tires, you know, Vision Wheel, everybody that's been behind me, Traxxas, Pat and Cat, you know, my dad. He's put in so many hours into this thing, and to finally be, you know, right there, we're close. I mean, and the good thing is we got adjustments to make yet and to go faster. So I can't thank them enough, and we'll be on that top spot.
Guys, you can see how happy Keegan Kincaid is right now.
Yeah, and he heads to Bark River, the next round of TORC the Off-Road Championship, a place that he's won a time or 2 or 10. Seems like as you look at the points, 4 points now separate the Greaves. Johnny out in front of CJ. Keegan still only 10 markers behind, and that new truck, he's getting faster and faster each week. A tight points battle, definitely, with those top 3. Chad Horde makes his debut to TORC in 2017 in Crandon, and he makes his debut to the podium here today. Congratulations goes to Chad.
Yeah, his round 5 wasn't exactly what he wanted it to be, getting out with a mechanical DNF, but here you are on the podium, your really first weekend back. Congratulations, Chad Horde. What does this podium mean to you?
You know, it means a lot. We did a lot to get this truck ready for this event, and Lucas Oil came behind us, and Ponzi and Max's Tires and my whole crew, and just to get the truck here. And yesterday, right on the starting line, we had a mechanical problem, and we all just say, let's just keep our heads up. We know what kind of team we are. And come out here today, I had to start second row, so I had to work my way through the pack. And Johnny and Keegan definitely had a good pace set. I tried several times to get up there with them, hoping they would, you know, bump and bang on each other, give me some room. But no, I'm just super happy to be here. Congratulations to John and Keegan, and thank the Crandon crowd here. And again, Lucas Oil and Ponzi, thank you.
Never easy to get on the podium here at Crandon. Chad Horde just experiencing that, but congratulations, 3rd place.
Yeah, good job by Chad Horde, and he had to make some adjustments. Everybody has to make an adjustment at each and every stop, and this week's TORC Tech is about just that. You've got to dial it in.
There's a lot of tinkering that goes on, especially with the Pro 4s, because we have the front weight with the front diff, and the way they pull out of the corners is they jump a little different, they fly a little different, and obviously they accelerate out a little different.
We started adjusting everything from the shocks, engine, transmission, you know, tire cut. You know, it's a whole new truck, so it's a whole new animal. We do a lot of videotaping, a lot of data, and just try to make it the fastest machine out on the track.
We use a lot of video, cameras on the suspension, you know, even cameras inside the car, watching how busy the driver really is. Because a lot of times you ask a guy, you know, how's it handling? Are you all over the wheel? And he's like, God, I can't remember. Well, we got a camera on you and you can see it.
Each track is pretty unique in its own way, so, you know, we go through a little bit of a checklist, make sure I have enough speed, I'm not chipping out, or I don't have enough power. As long as I can get it in the ballpark, I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm not gonna get too picky about something. If you get too complicated and then you're overthinking things, then sometimes you just gotta go with it.
The biggest thing is just functionality of the truck. We're just trying to make sure that the truck's going to stay together and we're going to have a solid, solid truck that's going to make it all 18 laps.
I think you really have to break the track down when you're out there and one lap, maybe focus on one section. You're trying to put in a good lap the whole time, but kind of separating the track out each lap. All right, I'm gonna see make sure the truck's working good here and make sure it's working good there. A lot of the times it's like the truck's good everywhere except one spot. You usually notice it in one spot in particular, so then you're trying to work on it in that spot without hurting the rest of it. So it really just comes down to figuring out what's gonna help where it's hurting but not affect the rest of the track.
CJ and I usually run a little bit different setups. I'm a little more aggressive and he's a little more calculated, so we'll figure out what works. And we got it pretty dialed now. In one short practice, we can be almost right on the money to what we want.
You never can be afraid to move forward in any kind of racing you are. If you stay stagnant, you're going to fall behind.
As you see the trucks lined up and that crew behind the fourth from away from that inside, that would be Luke Johnson's truck. He has left the booth. He is heading to the track. Johnny's heading from that victory podium into the booth, and we'll see the Pro two-wheel drives when we return to Crandon.
For 41 years, winning drivers in all forms of motorsports have relied on VP Racing Fuels for leading-edge technology to optimize performance and power them to the winner's circle. Now you can get the same benefit with VP Additives, formulated for gas and diesel engines. It's race fuel technology for your daily driver, and the perfect way to clean out your fuel system and put the power back in your drive. VP Additives are available at your local AutoZone store. For more information, visit vpracingfuels.com.
Welcome back to TORC, the Off-Road Championship. As you see, the track preparation still underway between the Pro 4s and Pro 2s. The track probably going to be getting better and better. As long as the rain holds off, it should be good. Actually, probably need to throw down some water in some places, but again, it's spooky. They'll have to get those blades and move that dirt back down. Unlike motocross tracks where you see a lot of discs and things like that, you don't see that in short course off-road racing. You see a lot of blades moving the dirt back down. As you see the inside of that last turn coming to take that Yamaha checker flag, that Amsoil finish line. One race in the books, the Pro 4-wheel drives, and oh, Johnny, you came into the booth from Red, and I go, CJ's going to be pissed because you take the win. But I mean, I know you didn't want to do that, but then again, you did that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we have the capability of switching channels on the radio, and he came on right away and he said that was not cool, and I'm like, CJ, you know I didn't mean that. I would never do that on purpose, you know. I was one line underneath him, and he was stepped out a little bit, and it was that soft spot. And I was nursing it, letting him take his line, take my line, and I just all of a sudden got a little drive out of there. I touched him, got on the brakes. I didn't even physically spin him all the way. And I thought, all right, I'll just sit here and he'll take off, and it must have stalled. And I still had room to drive around the front of him, and but that's my wife's biggest fear right there when stuff like that happens.
And as a team owner, that's your biggest fear too. That could have taken you both out of the race.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to see that happen, and we're never gonna.
It will happen again. Speaking of that, no, was that the move to get the Vision Wheels Bad Mofo Award right now? He's got to be the clubhouse leader. I don't know. Keegan might have it too, because he was giving you everything you wanted. He said, I don't know if you heard that in the interview, he said that he had a fuel pressure light pop on, and he looked down, and that's when you jumped on him, because I was like, I don't know. I mean, dude, you pounced.
Yeah.
You can't make a mistake like that. But, is it going to be good enough to take this $250 from Vision Wheels and the Vision Bad Mofo Award? But
well, I hope it goes to Keegan. I don't even want that money for what I did.
We had twos and lights left.
Yeah. We had a great race. Me and Keegan had a great race. CJ was, he went smoking by me, like I was telling Kate earlier when she was asking questions and, wondering where those guys have the advantage. I said, well, CJ and Keegan with their Pro 2 experience, what I call the treat turn back there by the starting line,
right?
They're so good at knowing when to brake, throw the back end in that berm, and then square it off and shoot out. And I haven't done that. I'm a Pro 4 guy. We stay on the bottom. And
hey, Scott does it.
Yeah.
Scott, he backs in even earlier than everybody else and does that move.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
they both got a run on me getting out of there. And Keegan, had a run on me, went by, and CJ went shooting by.
And it's tough, too, as you head in, and we're going to go to Kate Osborne here in just a second, but as you head into that first turn, the racer in you tells you to close him down, but also the wise guy tells you don't close him down, because bad things can happen, because he's got to come into you, too, at high speed.
Yeah, I looked over there. Keegan was right at my door, and I just let it float out and made sure we didn't have contact. So all went good. It's just after that you get whipped back.
Yep,
and
right.
It was
close.
He was good enough to give me a little room to whip back, and then I knew once I had that inside, he's going to get pushed into fluff a little bit.
And I thought that was even going to help him, because he landed. It looked like he had that good drive on the outside, but it wasn't enough. You had a good run, and you're the series points leader in Pro 4. Let's go to Kate Osborne. Oh, no, right there's what you're talking about. See, he's on that outside. I thought he was going to get that really good drive around you.
Yeah, he probably would have if I went to float it out there. I had the wheels cranked, but there's no grip down there, and I just pushed him up there. But then it was just don't open the door.
Right, it makes you nervous. Right here, I thought, okay, Johnny's got it, but you've seen it before coming down to that last turn. If you get too defensive, some guy's going to get a really wide line and then try and dive underneath you.
Yeah.
You've done it many times.
Yeah. That last turn had this huge chuckle. You see that once I was up on two wheels and Keegan's in there. I just stayed on the gas. I'm like, we're either going to make this turn or we're going over.
All right.
Definitely a fun race, everything but the beginning part.
All right, we're going to hold off here for just a second. You see those Pro 2s on the starting line. We'll talk more about those in just a bit, but congratulations, Joe.
Thanks.
Welcome all of our fans watching on TORCseries.com. On the inside there, Mark Peterson, the number 2, as you see 12 trucks lining up at the farthest depths of the Forest County Potawatomi start line, heading into that Forest County Potawatomi first turn, and that is a long run heading into turn 1. Welcome back to Crandon. We're at the Big House Brawl, round number 6 of TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL. There's Cowboy. He makes sure everyone is solid on that starting line, and once they are, then he'll look up to phase edge. The Cowboy's out of breath. I have never seen him fall, and he makes that run. You take a look at the class description. Pro 2s, yep, big engines, a lot of horsepower, but the key factor, not only they have to run the same style head, but also a DOT tire for 2017. I want to welcome into the booth the winner of the Pro 4-wheel drives, Johnny Greavesdale, sitting next to me. Congratulations on that win, Johnny. I guarantee you CJ's unhappy with you right now, but we see Cowboy making the run here on the inside. Find your favorite driver at the top of the screen. Mark Peterson should have a good spot for that hole shot, but series points leader Brad Lovell starting about mid-pack to the right. You see that white number 44 truck fourth from the right-hand side. Who's going to get the hole shot? There's Faye up on the box. Yellow, now it's nervous time. Johnny, you're going into the fastest first turn in short course off-road.
Yeah, they're all coming off there pretty good for as wet it is, but Peterson's definitely going to have a better run. There's no bumps there. The grass is probably a little dry, but look at Luke. He's got a good run.
LJ14 with a good run, and he's right in the line of Brad Lovell. He wants to fill that cab up with as much dirt as he can.
Well, now's his opportunity. Just don't make any mistakes early in this race, and you know, let the track come to him, figure out his lines, and hopefully run away with it.
I don't know what happened to Mitch Dorr on the start. I mean, he really did not get a good jump. He's back in the pack. You see Eric Ruppel, multi-time finisher on the podium and a winner in the Pro 2-wheel drive. He's back in 5th. Lovell almost getting on 2 wheels right there. How do you assess the track right now? They prepped it in between the races, but how do you think the track is?
I mean, it's getting really dry, really fast on the bottom. I mean, it's going to go blue groove on the bottom in the next couple races. But, man, above that, there's so much bite. It's crazy. And it's actually a little bit better than yesterday. You know, I think every race as they groom that back in, you know, that little packed dirt, we're going to see the groove move out. And I think if the weather holds out by cup time, we're going to have a really nice track.
So you hit the Argonne corner there up towards that tree turn you've talked about so often. You see Luke Johnson on the outside, but Brad Lovell's going to go on the inside. He might run it in and just take a stab right now on lap 1. He squares it up. He wants to go inside. You see something broke on Luke, or he missed a gear. Something happened to Luke Johnson. He went to turn left and something shed off. It almost looked like a gear, like he just missed something, but
I'll bet he broke a ring and pinion or something in the underdrive, you know, because that's where you come out of there with so much load on the car, and it's just working.
Let's go to Kate Osborne.
Right now, Luke is right now communicating with his spotter that he's just saying the truck won't run. They're trying to run through the couple of points. The spotter's asking him, what won't the fuel pressure right now is what they're really struggling with.
So, okay.
And they're right now trying to sort that gremlin out right now.
Okay, so it is an issue, but fuel pressure's one thing seated on a gauge. When you don't have fuel pressure, you can't fire the engine. Yeah,
I mean, that's probably the one thing the driver cannot find a way to fix, because he's got to get to the pit. They got to mess around with wires or something back there by the fuel pump. You know, if it was ignition or something, everybody's usually got maybe another box they can switch over. But yeah, unfortunately, he's probably dead in the water.
No fire.
No fire. Brad Lovell's got some fire though. He's got clean air.
Somebody lit a fire under his tail, didn't they, this weekend? I mean, he hadn't won a Pro 2-wheel drive, and you know he's been close, but no cigar. He wins his first Pro 2 race in the last round. Try to do it again here today. Luke said he was going to try and keep him from doing that, but mechanically, you've got to keep all 4 wheels on the ground and driving hard. But Brad, this season, has not had any time off. I mean, he's always in a truck, a buggy, or a rock crawler, doing something that has to help your mental status going into each and every TORC round.
Oh, absolutely. Anything you can be doing in the off season helps, especially when you're a Midwest guy and you know, we got to deal with snow and ice and everything else. You just try to find something to do to you know, stay busy and be behind the wheel, or you know, snowmobile or anything, just some sort of competitive activity to make you feel like you haven't lost your edge. But Brad definitely didn't lose his edge. He's running that track exactly where he needs to be right now.
Still have that competition caution after lap 4 of 9, but Lovell, Peterson, Conrad. Good to see Cody Conrad up there in the top 3 of that Conrad's Auto Salvage, Matco, Wrap Guys, Kenda Tire machine out of Wisconsin. Johnson's back on track. We'll see if he lost a lap or not. where he stands, because he could be 3/4 of a lap down and know he's still going to start nose to tail when that restart if he didn't lose that lap.
Yeah, he's probably on the radio begging for the Lucky Dog Award, which we don't have.
We don't have. But I think he's still, you know, he's completed 1 lap. He can stay ahead of Brad. He will come back to the tail of the field after the 4th lap. Brad right now, he's got to be thinking save the truck.
Right.
But in 2 different races, Johnny, we've seen Keegan talk about he had a fuel pressure light. Now we're seeing Luke. That can't be a coincidence, is it? I mean, it's just got to be a freak thing.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what caused stuff like that. I had a charged battery light going on. As soon as Faye got in the tower, a red light started flashing. I'm like, no way.
Cody Conrad, you see him trying to hold off Mr. Ruppel. Racing down that straightaway, flying into that right-hand turn. Eric Ruppel, Maxxis Tires Teenage Transmission Ford, back in 4th.
Yeah, these guys got a nice little race of their own going on here. A little smoke out of Ruppel, but I guess that's just that bedside hanging over.
Yeah, fiberglass in the tire doesn't make for a good time. And also with the DOT tires, a manufacturer battle, as there's Luke Johnson. Under power, but not under tremendous power. Well,
yeah,
now he's got it.
Right now, the fuel pump is probably just intermitting. It's filling up the float bowl. He gets to run it for a little bit until he drains the float bowl down, and then he's got to get out of it and probably let it fill up. So he may have a filter or a line or something kinked or clogged, or, you know, maybe a piece of dirt got down in there and it's just interfering in the carburetor. Who knows? But that's unfortunate. You know, Brad just got to play it smart here. I look forward to the yellow and seeing Peterson get to start behind Lovell, and hopefully he can learn some stuff off of that, and we'll have another race.
Right, Peterson's kind of had that lonesome road back there, 9 seconds behind, but still in 2nd place. So the Peterson's Dairy Kindle Tires, Fargo Tool and Die Toyota. And it's a good place to be in. Nobody that far in front of you, nobody that far behind you. You know you've got the 2nd half of this race to turn it on. Try and figure a few things out here and there. You don't have to race right now when you've got a gap front and behind.
Yeah, you know what the worst part about this is it feels like you're out there for days. I mean, when you got that gap and there's no pressure and the spotter's just all calm talking to you, it's like, man, do we not have the yellow yet? You know, you almost want to go back to some intense racing, but
not yet. But you're about to get the pressure in just a moment. As Brad Lovell, everything has been all right. You know, 2016 was an absolutely horrible year, a bad luck season for Brad Lovell, whether it be fires or DNFs for mechanicals here and there. But this year has been pretty darn solid. And just like in the last round, a little smoke in that final turn as he takes the yellow and red flags. We figure it's some type of overflow. It didn't cause him a problem in the last round where he takes the win, and it looks like it's not a problem here today. Peterson's going to come across in 2nd and Ruppel in 3rd. We'll start the 2nd half of Pro 2-Wheel Drive when we return to Crandon right after this.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Rugged radios. Work, race, play.
Hey Steve, where you at?
Experience clear communications through headsets or helmet kits.
I'm up on the hill to your right. Oh, there you are.
Talk vehicle to vehicle.
Keep the radio contact going. Copy?
Talk to passengers.
Copy that, I gotcha.
And stream your favorite music. Complete communications for UTVs, base camp, toy haulers, or off-road vehicles. Rugged radios, the authority in communications.
Lining them up nose to tail, Pro 2-Wheel Drives, the TORC the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. The competition caution has come out after lap 4. We still have 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 to go. Luke Johnson had some fuel issues. He did not lose a lap. He's going to start in 8th. You see him right there, LJ14. It's really been Brad Lovell and Luke Johnson as far as speed in 2017 nose to tail. But like Johnny Greaves had pointed out, it's going to be interesting to see how Peterson handles things now that he starts so close. Not the best jump, though.
No, it almost looks like Peterson's limping a little bit. If you see Ruppel, he's almost pushing him around the track right now, and I don't know quite what's going on, or maybe he shifted too early. He did something wrong because he did not get off the line that well.
Getting in there's Conrad back and forth, and Ruppel goes to the inside of the Maxxis tire truck, trying to change lines, but both of those lines converged at the moment. Peterson in second, dives it in. Look at Ruppel, squares up the outside, look for him to dive inside. He's going to get a good drive, he's going to have a door next to him. He had to make multiple turns in that, Johnny. That doesn't help you. You want that one nice turn.
Yeah, I mean, the way the track is, it goes from all that grip to shiny, and you really just got to set that thing up hard and commit and, you know, predetermine where you want it to be, and hopefully it ends up there, because you're not going to change your line in the middle of the turn.
Strong rotation there, a little understeer, or oversteer, excuse me, from Mark Peterson. Look at Ruppel, get a good run to that back now. He's going to set up way wide. When you see that, usually you go from out to in, but you're following the same tracks as Peterson, and both of them taking the same line. He's literally almost pushing him around that turn.
Yeah, if I was Ruppel, I'd be trying something odd right now. You know, the spotter needs to tell him he's got a little bit of room from behind. You know, Peterson looks good on the straightaway. Look at that. He's holding a steady gap, but something going on in the turns where it just looks like he stands still for a minute almost.
Look at him on the outside now. Peterson, Ruppel, about 3 or 4 feet in between them. You make contact with all that weight going to the outside, you'll get on 2 wheels in a hurry. But Mark Peterson still holding off Eric Ruppel as Brad Lovell just literally trying to check out, about 12 seconds ahead of these two already on lap 5.
Yeah, Brad Lovell's, he's on a different level right now. You know, he's got all his momentum coming from the last round, and he's just going to show these boys that that was no fluke. He belongs up there, and he's going to continue to stay up there. So too bad we didn't have Luke in there pushing him a little bit.
And that's what I get for looking at time and scoring on my side. That 12 seconds is actually about 5 seconds for Brad Lovell. Of course, that was before that competition caution. Big hole right there, too. You talked about how the track is really changing right now.
Yeah, you're going to see that. I mean, it's going to be like Crandon of the old days. We used to have to remember where those holes were forming and make sure when you set your slide up, you want to slide above or over the top of it, but don't hit that hole like I did one lap.
And we've seen it on some of the short course races when they have that typical horseshoe. You have to make adjustments during the race, but with Crandon, it's typically just wide open all the time.
Yeah, Crandon's one big flow, I call it. You know, you just set up here, you flow to the next turn, and you know, you can be a little off, and it doesn't make that big of a difference. But today with the holes, you got to be a little careful. It's mostly around the finish line there, and then going back into the Argonne turn, there's one getting pretty big, and that's where the soil's a little different. You know, it's got some more of the old sand and gravel back there, so you know, there's plenty of moisture in there.
With all the dirt that's here at Crandon, they keep adding it year after year as well. I know ERX was the same way. They added some clay in a typically sandy track.
Yeah, and that's what Crandon's been trying to do, is just get this thing, have a good clay base, because this place used to be a gravel pit. And back in the early days, I mean, you were dodging rocks, and you know, they spent years just sifting the dirt and separating the rocks, and you know, and then replacing it with this clay. And that's why we see it. You know, it can hold and take all this water so well because it's got such a hard base under it.
Brad Lovell's out in front, about 7 seconds ahead of Mark Peterson. Eric Ruppel still fighting behind Peterson. You see the differential should be coming out of Argonne, and there you see Mark Peterson and Eric Ruppel. A good advantage for Brad Lovell when everything was so wrong in 2016. Everything's been so right in 2017. He actually won the first race, it seemed like, but it was penalized and lost that win when he made too much contact or improper contact with Luke Johnson at the first round in Chicago. There's Luke Johnson. He's moved his way into 5th now. He started in 8th on that restart. And Mitch Dorr just in front of him. Let's go down to Kate Osborne.
On that restart, Luke Johnson was hearing in his ear, just relax and calm down. You can get these guys. He said, nice and easy, Luke. And then he goes, and you know what, Luke? You can still get on the box. You got this, brother. And that is exactly the kind of encouragement a driver needs when he knows he has a job to get done.
That's right, Caden. And you see Luke Johnson, that last time around the stripe, he was about 4 seconds behind Mitch Dorr. You can see right now, that's not 4 seconds. He's making up ground in a hurry, and you have to do that in a championship. Every truck you pass is more points.
Yeah, he's really got to, you know, buckle down, and like his guys said, just relax. You know, this is the time you get a little over anxious and you're gonna overdrive because you want to get there so quick. But slow down on a track like this. Don't make big mistakes, and he'll move forward. It's cool that whatever happened seemed to have cleared up.
And you may not finish on the podium in the top 3, but if you're 4th, that's much better than, say, an 8th.
Oh yeah, for sure. You gotta make sure you gotta finish to win.
Brad Lovell started the season with a 4th. He finished second, and it comes back with a win. He's the points leader by 10 over Mitch Dorr. Dorr now sits in 4th place on the racetrack, just ahead of Luke Johnson.
You know what, I think this whole package, this engine change and tire change has really fit Brad Lovell's driving style. You know, he's a pro light guy.
Pro light champion.
Yeah, he's used to having a little bit less tire, less motor. And when he got into Pro 2, you get all that motor, and there's really never enough tire for a full-blown Pro 2. And I always said, you know, he's blowing the tires off that thing all the time. Well, now you can drive these things pretty much matted to the floor, and it's perfect for his style. Obviously, it's working out great for him.
Kate, you have more on Brad?
Remember, guys, in 2010 he started with Pro Light. It wasn't until 2 years later in 2012 that he won that Pro Light championship. Remember back, his Pro 2 start was 2015, getting comfortable for 2 years, and now in 2017 we'll see him really running out hard with that confidence that he needed.
Yeah, and he's not a spring chicken. He's 40 years old, but I mean, with age comes experience, and he's showing he's the class of the field here today. 12 seconds ahead of Mark Peterson. Brad Lovell on his last lap here at Crandon. The fastest straightaway and short course off-road. Almost 100 miles an hour down that straight, making the sharp tree turn one more time. And man, when you got a 12-second cushion, you can't get any better. You're even hearing engine noises now.
Yeah, this is when all the gremlins, you hear things that you know, don't even exist. You'd probably hear his phone ringing in his pocket. But he's got a nice run going. All he has to do is basically drive it home and be cool. And right now he's probably rehearsing his podium speech.
Yep, just like you heard Johnny Greaves winning the Pro 4-wheel drive, this man's 2 turns away from winning Pro 2-wheel drive. Brad Lovell out of the state of Colorado, trying to win back-to-back races. It's his first win at the last round, but Colorado Springs native might go back-to-back here today.
I see Luke's up to 4th now. Let's see if we get a camera shot on him and see if he can squeak out a 3rd yet.
We'll see him as he crosses the stripe, because there he is, Brad Lovell. He hadn't won until the last round, and he goes back-to-back here in Crandon, taking the win in Pro 2 in the AMSOIL 44. Those Cooper tires hooking up the entire way. Mark Peterson's going to finish his best race in the Pro 2-wheel drive. You see him come across in 2nd. And Eric Gruppel, another podium in 3rd, with Luke Johnson not too far behind, making up a lot of ground in 4th.
For 41 years, winning drivers in all forms of motorsports have relied on VP Racing Fuels for leading-edge technology to optimize performance and power them to the winner's circle. Now you can get the same benefit with VP Additives, formulated for gas and diesel engines. It's race fuel technology for your daily driver, and the perfect way to clean out your fuel system and put the power back in your drive. VP Additives are available at your local AutoZone store. For more information, visit vpracingfuels.com.
TORC, the Off-Road Championship, is brought to you by VP Racing Fuels, the official fuel of TORC, and by Atturo, the tire with the style you want and the performance you need.
It was a muddy start to the day. Rain is in the forecast, but it's clear sailing for Brad Lovell, and the 44 truck goes back-to-back here at Crandon. And the series points leader stretches that lead, and now he can stretch outside the truck in a victory. And let's go hear from him with Kate Osborne down trackside.
All right, ready? You're good. Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah! Woo!
Congratulations, Brad Lovell. This is one for the books for you, back-to-back wins, and of all places here at Crandon. What has changed as a driver for you over the course of the last couple of years in Pro 2?
Well, you know, I got to give it to our team. You know, everything feels so organized. I can focus on the driving, and the balance of the truck is just incredible. It's never been there before. I can put it where I want to put it. Cooper tires are hooking up. I'm putting them in these big holes. I lost contact with my my spotter through most of that. Right into turn 1, something hit my headphones and they came out. So I was running as hard as I could the whole time and not really knowing what was going on. But wow, what a race. So stoked about it.
He is apparently extremely stoked about it, as he should be. Back-to-back here at Crandon. Brad Lovell.
And you see his boys happy in the background as well as he takes another win here in 2017. Mark Peterson, strong run by him. I mean, he's finished on the podium at Elk River with a 3rd, but other than that, a 7th, an 8th, a 10th. But you see him almost on that top step of the box. Mitch Dorr, a terrible start. He worked his way up to 5th. Luke Johnson had the mechanical and worked his way up to 4th. Let's go down to Kid Osborne, who's with Mark Peterson.
Well, no doubt about it that he had to defend that one. You were defending that 2nd place that entire run. How difficult was it to stay focused?
Oh, it was coming around some of these corners. There's some ruts that are starting to form, and then I'd come into them and hit these ruts, and it almost caused me a little bit to over-rotate. But I really can't thank the Broken Dirty team enough. They helped get this truck back together last night after we had problems yesterday during the race. So thank you to all the Broken Dirty team. So thank you.
2nd podium of the season, Mark Peterson.
Matches the number 2 on his door, the Kent Tire truck. It's going to help his point standings as well. Peterson in 5th place, 42 markers back. But you see now 18 points, Lovell over Door. Luke Johnson, he gained ground towards the end, but still 20. That you got to fight, Johnny, if you're going to make up ground with that much racing still to go.
Yeah, I mean, that may not look like a lot of points there, but man, when there's only 2 each position, that's a long ways to go. And but you know what? It's still early in the season. That stuff happens to everybody. You know, Brad Lovell's probably going to have his one bad weekend too, and Luke's going to turn it around and have his good one. That's usually the way it goes.
Eric Ruppel fighting as well. He finishes on the box in 3rd place. Case caught up with him.
Fighting for sure, but getting more and more comfortable on the podium here. Eric Ruppel. What did Mark Peterson have on you today? You guys battled it out.
I don't know. We used to battle quite a bit in Super Truck, and he's a good driver. He just had a little bit on me today, but this Maxxis Pro 2 J&H transmission, we'll be back. We're coming. We like the podiums.
No doubt about it. Eric Ruppel.
Eric Ruppel, his 3rd podium of the season. Again, you look at it as points. Podium equals points. Well, we've seen 4s, we've seen 2s, but there's still plenty more racing to come here at TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. There's thousands of fans ready to check it out. It's you as well at home.
Trailblade Tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
When it comes to guarding your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance enthusiasts demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
More track prep underway. You see the course workers, the television crew checking things out as well. Got their nice blue vests on. Yeah, a lot of equipment out there trying to make this place look as good as it can and feel as good as it can to the drivers. A lot of blades. They had to track this in. You know, in our opening stand-up, they were out there running around in every vehicle you could imagine, quads, UTVs, cars, trucks, you name it, trying to track in this track. And now, as Johnny Greaves said, it's going to get drier. It's going to get blue groove. We still have big trucks coming up in a little bit in the pro lights. A lot of Ponzi sponsorship here at Crandon. They're just right down the road, and the Kleiman brothers. We'll see them in the pro lights here in just a little bit. They're sponsored by Ponzi. A lot of people question, what is Ponzi? Here's the answer.
Ponsse is a family-owned company, and all the Ponsse machines are made in Finland. Sponsoring TORC and Crandon racetrack just makes perfect sense because locking is just like off-road racing. We play with the dirt.
You know, the Pro 4 class, there's a lot of mechanical things going on, and everything's got to be just perfect to go win races. You know, in my logging business, we strive for the same. I run a Ponzi Scorpion, and I also have a Ponzi 6-wheel Ergo. In the off-road racing world here, Ponzi's a big family, just like they are with their equipment. They're not just a dealer.
With all the loggers and all the companies that provide us with this machinery, it's one big family. It's within the community. You take our race trucks and they got to be dependable on the track, you know, for only a short period of time. But when you jump in one of these machines, they have to last a lifetime, and you know, Ponzi provides that for us.
The Ponzi forestry equipment, I mean, it's the best out there. It's second to none.
Running those trucks in a racetrack, they get enormous amount of beating.
They take a beating, that's for sure. They keep on ticking, you know.
I think I've got the coolest job in the world. During the day, I'm running a Ponzi Scorpion, and on the weekends, I'm running a Ponzi race truck.
These racetrack drivers, they are part of our family, and they are also our customers.
I like Pekka's, you know, dialect there. I can't say his last name, but yeah, you hear them talking about the Ponzi. Yeah, the wooded areas around here are unbelievable. And, you know, I live in Texas, and a lot of trees in East Texas. I mean, you could just blow through those things in no time. I mean, you could clear this whole track in a matter of minutes with the Ponzi equipment. And, again, sponsoring people like Chad Horde, as well as the Kleimans, Cody and Kyle Kleiman. We'll see them in just a moment in the Pro Lights. We'll also see this guy in Pro Lights in the liquid wrench truck. And good to have you in here, Cam Reimers. You've been watching the Pro 4s, Pro 2s, and you're seeing the way the track breaks down. What do you think about it so far?
Yeah, it's interesting with the rain they got overnight and the way this thing's actually starting to polish off in the main groove. It almost resembles a sprint car track. You know, it's hard, and then the outside cushion is really, really thick. So it'll be interesting. I'll say before I hopped in the booth here, it's starting to sprinkle outside.
Oh,
so
is
we'll
it?
See,
I don't know that in the booth, so I'm glad you said that.
We'll see
but
if it holds
okay.
off.
It helped. You just don't want it to flood out there, but a nice sprinkle throughout's okay.
Yeah, it should be fine. I think the biggest thing with track prep, they're struggling to roll that thick stuff back on top, and then it's just blowing off real quick again. So we'll see if it's going to be soft and slippery or what. The guys back in the pit right now are kind of waiting, and you know, we'll make the call with tires and stuff like that at the last minute. So we got a couple options.
I appreciate you stepping in here. Johnny Greaves is actually making his way up to the podium. They didn't have their awards presentation for the 4s or the 2s, so he and Luke are doing that. Johnny's going to get back in the booth to call the Pro UTVs, and then you'll hop back in the booth later for our web to call the Cup race. That's going to be fun for you. You get to see what it's like on my side of the microphone.
Yeah, it'll be a busy day. It'll be nice. A lot of downtime today without qualifying and stuff like that. So, hey, I'm all for it.
Let's talk about you. Hold your hand up. Let everybody know. No, the other hand. The other one with the brace on there. You see the fingers and you see the brace, and I talked about it briefly at the end yesterday. That was not a racing injury. You weren't messing around after the races or anything like that. That's what happens when you try holding the tents at who knows how many mile-an-hour winds in ERX.
Yeah. It's, looking back, you know, it's 2020 vision. I mean, I shouldn't have been doing that, but yeah, once we had some updraft come up under the tent, started breaking some straps, we ran out to try to restrap it down, and she went, and one of the awning poles got my hand and broke a couple bones in it, but
luckily nobody else was really hurt. I mean,
no doubt. And then you know, part of me was halfway excited. It's been a long time since, you know, my motocross career.
you know, racing
have to
deal with it. Right?
Yeah, racing with an injury, and sometimes you're just able to dig a little bit deeper. It maybe makes you mad enough to keep pushing, and you know, that just may help you find that extra little bit. And yesterday, I mean, fought for it, and hand's pretty sore now, but it's so funny. You block it out, you don't even notice when you're racing, you know?
Yeah, and I understand the moto side. I broke my hand as well. It's tough to deal with. Well, want to send it to a little feature we have on the Potawatomi. As you see, the Forest County Potawatomi first turn, the start line. They're a big part of the events here at Crandon. Take a look.
When you see Potawatomi, what do you think of? Casinos? Hotels? Well, think again. You may not know that the Potawatomi Business Development Corporation has been awarded over 600 contracts to instruct, analyze, design, develop, and implement systems for the United States government for aviation, defense, and homeland security. It's just another way Potawatomi is creating jobs in Wisconsin that make an impact around the world. Potawatomi, keepers of the fire, builders of the future.
There it is, Forest County Potawatomi Turn 1, the fastest first turn in short course off-road racing. And what's the factor for you on a 1 to 10? Where is it going into that first turn?
Well, I'll tell you, yesterday I got a really good start from the outside and just held it on. I knew I had to do that. Wasn't jumped out there very far and just kind of buried it in. And wow, it's a rush, but we've always gotten good starts here, so I think that gives you a little bit of confidence.
But you generally had good qualifying spots too, and you didn't do so hot.
Wow, we were poor yesterday. That was 6th place qualifying. This is pretty poor for us. So.
Hey, but you came out in 3rd, so that was good.
Yep, no, it was all right.
You know, Vision Wheels, they have the Bad Mofo Award. And you see that 110, but there's a lot of 20s in there. $250. Actually, I hold on to that 10. $240. I keep the 10 to the winner of the Vision Wheels Bad Mofo Award. Get this nice wallet. Are you going to win this thing today?
I hope so. If anyone, I don't know if the live coverage caught my bike with about two laps to go, but I was on 2 wheels with the door about dragging yesterday. I thought, hey, that may get me $250 from Vision. But
hey, you're going to get married here. This money could come in handy. You're going to get married pretty soon. Kate Osborne, what you got for me?
Well, first, hi, Cam. It's nice to have you with us here on the broadcast. Obviously, one of the things that we've been pushing here this weekend is the fact that we want to hear from you and we want to get some questions from you because we have some of these drivers in the booth with us, like Cam, for example. Well, I just want to say thanks to Invisible Rider, Ghost Rider 1015. His comment was, hey, Johnny, Luke, and Cam, with the track so wet, how will you groove your tires to get traction here? So, Cam, I know this is an ongoing discussion and the tires, and what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, typically the softer the track is, the bigger you want to open up the grooves in the tires. But the way the thing's playing out and the way the weather you want to try to keep some rubber on the ground too. So to be quite honest, we haven't made the call yet. We're still probably a half hour out from deciding how the weather goes and go from there.
All right, so in case you're not familiar with grooving and cutting tires and certain things, but think of a road tire. The more available rubber on the ground on a flat surface should give you more traction. But when you have the loose, loamier dirt or mud, you need those channels to grip and claw. Like if you have those channels on a hard track, you're going the wrong way.
Exactly, yeah. Those channels act kind of like a paddle on a sand tire would, and they just chew through the loose stuff and give you some drive. But yeah, when it's hard pack, you want some rubber on the ground. Any of those channels just start to tear up and demolish your tire, and you don't have much left at the end of the race.
And I know that's with you having to run DOT tires, it's not the tire's fault either, too, because they're meant to be on the road and off-road, but you're having to do it in a racing situation and putting a lot more horsepower than the general public would have with those DOT tires.
Yep.
All right, Cam, I want to ask you about the UTVs as they're about to make their way to the starting line. We have Pro Stock and Pro Mod, and Johnny will sit here and call these races. How come we haven't seen a liquid wrench UTV yet for Cam Reimers? Because out of all the racers here, CJ Yap, motocross, I can see him doing it. And you know what? He's doing it pretty darn well. But you, coming from the quads, being a pro quad racer, I would thought you would have had one of these bad boys lined up.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know when the UTVs first started coming out. When I was racing for Can-Am, I used to do a lot of the commercial shoots and things like this for them. So the background, everything fits. There's been talks every winter, so I wouldn't say we're far away from possibly getting into one. But everything has to come together. I mean, we're so focused on Pro Light. I want to make sure if we're going to do it, we can do it right, and it doesn't really take any focus off of the off-road championship with the Pro Light class. That's what we're out here to do. So
it makes sense, though. I'm just telling you, it sounds good. A Pro Stock or Pro Mod UTV with the liquid wrench colors out there. Looking at your positions this year so far, a 4th, a couple of 5ths, and a 3rd. So yesterday at the last round, finally getting things back on track. Did you figure things out with the truck, or has it just been a few bad luck things here and there? What's it been that's kept you from the top step of the podium this year?
Yeah, we tested quite a bit this offseason, and some of the data is coming back to bite us, to be honest, the way the tracks have started to just develop this year. So we've retracted a little bit and starting to find some speed again. But those consistent finishes, I mean, they've got us second in the points, and we're still learning. There's so much racing left to go. We're fighting for this championship. I know, I don't want to lose any more points to Kyle Kleiman, but we're trying to push through all this. The truck's getting better. I'm getting more comfortable, and yeah, I'd like to get a win. That's for sure.
All right, there they are. Whether it be a Yamaha, a Polaris RZR, or a Can-Am. It's up to you which vehicle you choose, but the stock class in the UTVs have been dominated by the Yamahas so far. We've seen a lot more of a mixture in the mods. Do you have a preference? As I'm sure generally you would want a mod in about anything, but those stocks are pretty darn fast as they are.
Yeah, the Yamahas have seemed to be really good this year, and obviously with CJ's skills and just kind of his patience, he's been able to weave his way through traffic pretty easy every weekend.
And Graves on the motors doesn't hurt either.
No, I don't think so. I wouldn't say as good a driver as he is. I wouldn't say it's all driver. That car is fast. You can tell.
Yeah. Maybe ask him if you can drive it for a lap or two. Think
All
he'll let you?
All right.
I'll ask him.
I don't know.
I don't mind that. I was thinking about, and maybe he's watching. I was talking to Caleb Humphreys last night after hours, and he was talking about certain guys and whatever, and it sure would make sense if Chad Reed, who is a monster athlete, I need to ask Johnny when he gets back in the booth, maybe Chad Reed at, say, Redbud, maybe. Wouldn't that be a great deal to get Chad Reed, the Supercross and motocross champion, out there in a UTV, Yamaha, monster? It sure does sound like a perfect combination.
And he's got a nice go-kart track at his house, if you've ever seen him. I mean, he can rip on four wheels with a steering wheel too. So.
Yep. I heard Villapoto, wanted to take a lap or two around here at off-road stuff. Cowboy making his way out there. It's amazing. And I mean, there have been 48 years of Crandon. I think Cowboy's probably done most of them, and he still has not fallen, as he crossed that track. Still hadn't done it. People are saying, you're going to jinx him. No, I'm not jinxing him. I'm just pointing out facts here, people. As the Pro Stock UTVs are lining up for the first time, you see all the 900 entries. The 900 signify the Pro Stocks. The 800 entries will be the Pro Mods that will immediately follow. Hey, if Johnny doesn't make it back from the awards, you mind sitting next to me for this?
I can do it. I'm gonna have to start getting ready soon, but
yeah.
But I can tackle it. What
time do you start getting nervous before you race? Everybody gets nervous at some point. Crandon, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, when you're when you're sitting in the truck and you're fully buckled in, it's easy to have the nerves come about you. And in that point, I just close my eyes and I kind of run through a lap of the track, how you would start to see the first turn play out, how you would start to see the second turn play out.
From your moto days, probably, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that's the exact same thing you would do in moto.
Give yourself some options. You know what I mean? If this is how you want to pull the whole shot, but you've got to have an idea of what you want to do. Try to consciously tell yourself to turn the aggression up there, but don't do anything stupid. And that's kind of what I did yesterday. Was really aggressive when I knew I didn't have the whole shot. Aggressive, trying to make some passes. It's the easiest spot to pass everyone in the class is turn one. So I'm really focused on that. And but like I said, you don't want to end up in the wall or something stupid and take yourself out of the race.
Look at how many UTVs. And fortunately, they do finish far up the line into that Potawatomi County first turn, because that is Forest County Potawatomi first turn is high speed, and you don't want this short of a wheelbase heading into that turn that fast with that many cars.
No, tangling wheels in one of these things, they kind of roll like a basketball. So I don't envy these guys that end up upside down. They tend to flip quite a few times. So yeah, that's why they're a little bit closer into turn one, and it helps quite a bit.
All right, Cam Reimers is exiting the booth. Johnny Greaves is going to sit down after collecting his first place trophy, and you see them preparing for the Pro Stock UTVs. The series points leader, CJ Greaves, a perfect season so far, has 102 points. And I asked this question myself. If you get 25 for your win, how in the heck do you get 102 points? The answer is qualifying. They typically qualify on Saturdays preceding, so that's where you get that extra point. All right, there's the green flag. It means go, and we're off with the pro stocks. Who's going to get the start? CJ starts to that inside. Everybody doesn't want to see that, but that's exactly what you're going to get is a hole shot from CJ Greaves. Johnny starting on the inside, and with CJ's skill and that Graves power plant, that's going to be a tough haul for these guys.
Yeah, and you know, with the track still having a little bit of limited lines for these guys, I mean, you got to remember they don't have the motor. The smartest thing is not go out in that cushion, so you know they're probably down to a line and a half. But
1, 2,
that's
3,
too bad here.
3 off of the track right now, 1 on his side. That gentleman's popping up his window net, so I'm guessing he doesn't want to get back into the action. Might be missing something there. But it looks like all 4 wheels are pointing the right direction, so, well, the one on the right isn't. I can't figure out that number. It looks like it might be Dylan Poynton. Is that 929? No. Kate Osborne?
Well, exactly what Johnny Greaves told me that these guys need to do. Well, the ones that are right now, the reason that we have this caution, they didn't do. Unfortunately for them, they just need to go straight and keep on hard ground because they don't have enough power to really get up in that fluff. And as you can see right now, that's exactly where those drivers ended up, was right in that fluff, which is why they right now have caused this caution.
Marshmallow fluff is delicious, but not this. I'm looking down at my 920. That's who it is. So the 929, with those numbers being, that's Peyton Mills out of Monroe, North Carolina, that haven't. Kate, it looks like it's getting darker out there. I'm in this dark booth. Is it getting darker? I know it's been chilly throughout the day.
It is a little chilly. It's a little windy. Unfortunately, it's starting to get a little darker. That is a good phrase for it. It is. And
you just have to look up to see the darkness.
You know what? It's a blue sky right here, but it's so amazing. It's like a big bowl all around right here.
It's just staying blue over your head, huh, Kate?
Yeah.
Right, just. Oh, hi, Johnny.
Just that one little halo.
What you were saying earlier, these guys just need to be pointed forward, right? And not getting that fluff, exactly.
Yep, you got to stay on that hard stuff, get straight as soon as you can. Those cars go fast when they're going straight, and there's a few of them that haven't figured that out yet.
I'm trying to figure out who all the drivers are. I'm looking at my list there. Mills might have been out of it. Kloss, Hughes, Martinek, and Bennett's.
There's the Mills car right there. That's unfortunate because these guys, they travel long ways, and they've had some a hard start to the season. I mean, motor issues and just, you know, growing pains getting into the TORC series. I guess that's all you can.
Yeah, you see Liquid Molly, one of their sponsors, and a full list along the side, but you know they wanted to represent them and not the way you wanted to start your day here in Pro Stock. Let's take a look at the replay and if we can see what happened or if we just see the carnage as it's happening. All right, where's it going to be? Oh, Rambo. Rambo on the inside. Somebody checked up, and it went bumper cars from there on out.
Oh, yeah. Mills had nowhere to go. He was just cut. Well, and this guy, I don't know, on the outside, it looks like he just caught the berm all on his own.
Well, I think everybody got jammed up on that inside for whatever reason. Maybe, who knows, something happened where somebody was not under power, and it went like accordion in the middle, and homeboy shot off to the right. So, yeah, it all looked like for some reason somebody was able to close drastically on someone else.
Well, and what we're seeing today is a lot fuller field because of the weather. They didn't get to qualify this morning, which was a good move by TORC. You know, it would have been a mess. These guys would have had, they'd still be washing their cars. So they decided we're going to let everybody run. We're going to line you up based on points. And, you know, now there's 24 cars out there instead of 20, and maybe there's a couple that aren't quite ready to be out there.
Right.
So,
I mean, it happens. It happens. And the crowd, they want to see it. I mean, you see the crowd, big crowd turning out when there is a high chance. I say 100% chance of rain today, but you know, that's okay if it's just a sprinkle because they dealt with it yesterday and the track was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, and I mean, so far so good. Let's cross our fingers and knock on wood.
Yeah, we want to remind you still have another race today. We've seen the Pro 4, but you also have that Forest County Potawatomi, what is it, Community Cup? They changed the name, Chairman's Cup. I'm not sure what it is now. But we have that later on the day, the best of Pro 2 and Pro 4 going at it. Have they give you the delta yet on what you're going to have a disadvantage on the start?
No, it was kind of interesting. They had to delay the drivers' meeting because they were trying to figure out what to do. And, you know, we just said, as long as we got some time, why don't we talk about this whole split thing? And, you know, I get it. There's such a variable. There's weather. There's how many trucks, how many Pro 2s are going to be in front of us. We need a little give and take here and there. I want to see it just, you know, fastest lap time of the Pro 2 versus the fastest lap time of the Pro 4, and you multiply it times the 10 laps. You know, I just want a baseline from them of what we're going to start with.
And we're seeing 4 Pro 2s as it is right now. Brad Lovell, Luke Johnson, Kevin Hanegraaff, and Mark Peterson. Those are the ones that have signed up. CJ, yourself, Keegan, Ross, Kent Brasho, Scott Douglas, and Chad Horde would be the Pro 4-wheel drives a little bit later. And if you're not familiar with the Cup race, Pro 2s start at a designated time ahead of the Pro 4s. They leave. They're down the straightaway, and then they let the 4s go. There's been times when they've been pretty even and a Pro 2's been, won. There's been times when they let out the Pro 2s and held the Pro 4s too long and the Pro 2s have won. But for the most part, this is a pretty exciting race for both ends.
Well, not only exciting, but, the Forest County Potawatomi people are gracious enough to put up all that money, $25,000 purse. I mean, how can you not want to go out there and, beat your equipment to death? But, it comes back to that same gap. We just want it to be fair because it's no fun to be out there and not even have a physical shot at it. And we have seen something similar to that in the past where, they gave the Pro 2s too big a start. But what happens is the Pro 2 guys go, well, if we don't get a good head start, we're not going to race anymore, and I get it. We're all bargaining. We all want our biggest advantage.
Right. You want an opportunity, but if
I'm saying it's easy to figure out on paper. If it works that way, by the end of the race, we should all come down.
They still have to tweak it, though, because if it rains, then it's really going to help the Pro 4s. Let's go down to Kate Osborne for a bit.
All right, Johnny, you've been one of those guys who has spent a lot of time with trucks, and you've spent a lot of time with UTVs, especially here this last season. For you, there's some similarities, and people are saying that actually you've told me before that when you get some time in a UTV, you're really getting some good seat time for a truck. Why do you see that as a case?
Well, the biggest thing with the UTVs for me is their 4-wheel drive. Their 4-wheel drive, the Yamahas are sequential stick shift. I mean, they're a mini version of my truck. By stupid accident, this thing
works.
It works just like a truck. Yeah, it's underpowered, but you get them slammed to the ground, and you do the few tweaks you're allowed to do to the motor, and those things actually get really, really racy. And to come into the corner, you got to commit. You just got to huck those things, slam it down a couple gears, and keep the wheels spinning.
I got a question. As they're going around there, and I said this before you got in here, and I was talking to Cam Reimers, I see you with the vehicle that's not being raced. I see this guy that's a Supercross and motocross champion that would probably love to race at Redbud. His name's Chad Reed. Why can't we put Chad Reed in your vehicle and have him out at Redbud? I would love to see that. I know I'm just saying it to you for the first time, but I'm like, Reedy's looking for something to do. I'm hearing him doing podcasts and things like that. Wouldn't he be awesome as a Yamaha pilot in the past?
Well, he has tested in one.
He has?
Yeah.
That's what I had heard.
He had tested right after ERX. I saw a post, and he was out having some fun. I haven't heard from the Yamaha crew if there's anything that's going to come of that. But, yeah, we got a whole bunch of these things sitting around. So, Chad, give me a call. I already got your number on it.
Yeah. That is absolutely true. The Deuce.
The 22.
That is awesome. And the Yamaha Pace vehicle leading the way right now. That I had absolutely forgot about the
and Yamaha
2.2 Motorsports
Monster.
That's what I said. Everything's set up really well
it's ready
for
to
him.
Go, buddy.
I'll try and effort that when we leave here. Yamaha Pace vehicle again. We're on the shortest of the short courses here for the Pro Stock UTVs. You see leading the field there, Greaves, Martin, Poynton, Luberg, Waz, Lunderby. Those top 6, any of those guys can win. But it's been a race of Yamahas for the most part. Luberg might have a little something to say about that. And the Polaris, he's going to be starting 4th on that outside row 2. A lot of bikemans in the mods, but right now it's about stocks. CJ gets a good start, takes the line that he wants. Now that big left-hander in the gravel pit, that'll be a determining factor. You don't want to go too wide there.
No, and you're going to see CJ just make sure he protects the bottom everywhere until he gets a little gap, and then he's going to start experimenting with the track and what this car will do. But let's just hope these guys can get a couple clean laps. We need them to get sorted out, and then we can go racing. You see Lunderby, Luberg, there's a race shaping up right there.
Yeah, Zach Martin back in 2nd as well, trying to knock on the door of CJ Graves. Getting into each other and pulling out. Luberg able to save it, but loses 8, 9, maybe even 10 positions in one little bitty straightaway. The 955 looks aggressive. He's driving in there pretty hard as well.
That's one of my guys. That's Jake Lunderby. He's under our tent, and he's a pro light guy,
Right.
and he struggled in pro light. He's a hardworking kid, does it all on his own, and we took him in, and he lives with CJ, and he's from Montana, so he just migrates here in the summer and wants to go racing. So I do what I can to help him, because I really like to see that, a kid that just wants to do it all, and he's not asking for freebies everywhere.
On the bike there to my side, Johnny Greaves, the Pro 4 winner here at Crandon. His son CJ out in front of this. Martin Point and Lunderby, 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's Lunderby. The 955, that's the race for 3rd and 4th. A couple of Yamahas going at it. Driving in, Lunderby taking that outside line. You talk about he goes from trucks to this. I didn't know he lived with CJ. I thought he was constantly working in your shop all the time. I thought he's busy. It seems like everything I hear about him.
Well, he does. We give him a spot in the shop, but he has a job with a construction company during the week, and then at night he comes there and works in the shop, and yeah, CJ rents him a room. But
it's expensive racing these things, no matter what. You know what you race.
It's interesting. The Brian Waz car, the one that crashed hard yesterday, and he got knocked out. He got hit by another car in the roof, and we actually cut a few roof tubes out of it last night, repaired that car, and unfortunately he wasn't cleared to race, and so he put his backup driver in there. So in the Brian Waz car, I think...
yeah, he's up into 7th spot right now.
Yeah, that's Michael Gillian, the pro mod guy, is actually driving that car.
Okay. Yep, that's what I have it on my sheet. It's still on the time to scoring as was. We have Gillian up into the top 7.
Yeah, that's Waz's brother.
Yeah,
right
that's
there,
what I was saying. Scott just in front of him. So
Mickey
Brian,
Thomas chasing him there.
Yeah, Brian's wanting his car to do well, but then again, you want the Waz name to stay out there in front. Oh, get a little over rotation there. As you mentioned, Thomas, the 924, who was in the mix yesterday for the most part. We'll have a competition caution after the 5th lap. These guys will be running 10 laps there on the short courses.
It's good to see, the whole field's out there running good and clean and having a good race. I was a little worried we go back to the first race last year at Crandon, or the last race of the year, when we just had so many of them out there and it was yellow, yellow, yellow. But we definitely have a much better field of drivers and
I think they figured
talent.
it out. They figured it out a little bit too.
Yeah.
You can't be that aggressive and run it in there and throw it in the improper places.
Well, and they've all, I think, in the off season, so many of them got new cars and have taken this serious. Where I think we saw at that fall run, there was a lot of just weekend warriors. There was the trail machine and whatever. These guys are all racers. Those cars don't do nothing but race and get prepped. And, they're serious now. So, and you're seeing that in the racing. We're having good racing. We're not under yellow all the time. And it's actually fun to watch.
And as far as building these machines, they may be stock, but a lot of work is done to these stock machines. We're halfway through, 5 laps down, 5 more to go in the pro stock. CJ Greaves had over a 5-second lead in the front half. Not much worry for the 933 of CJ Greaves. Let's go down to Kate Osborne.
CJ Greaves is running well, and I asked him earlier today, what are really the keys? He said, well, it's really setup, especially in these stock setup and driving lines. He also continued to say that there's actually like 1.5 lines here with UTVs. That main groove is really where all the action happens, but those passing ones, the passing lanes are actually where they're into and exit of the corners. Johnny, anything else you'd say is a key for these UTVs?
Well, that's absolutely correct. It is down to 1.5 lines out there right now, and then you got to just, you're going to have to chase that guy, stay in the good groove, and either force him into a mistake or just, try to dive under him, but you're not going to go around the top. Not
and
today.
Especially here as that Yamaha pace vehicle brings him down that straightaway heading into the gravel pit. That 1.5 is a typical track. Here it might be even a little tighter. I mean, it literally is 1.5 laps as it stands right now.
Yeah.
Or 1.5 car widths.
Yeah. And it's drying up. It's pushing out a little bit, and as more races go on, it'll get better. But we need to get graders out there in between every race and keep rolling that stuff over.
As they'll be able to take the green the next time around. Greaves out in front, Zach Martin in second. Dylan Poynton in third. Luberg, who did start in that top 5, has dropped out of the top 10. It looks like as it is right now, Lunderby is behind Mulder in 5th. Don't count out Lunderby for a podium spot too, because he was fast. We saw him having to work up to get those spots.
I don't see the Waz car. The two Wazes were running together there, and oh, there he is. He fell back a little bit.
But this is the competition caution. Five laps down, 5 more to go. We bring out the green flag. CJ is on the gas and no problems for him.
Yeah, CJ's just, you know, it's kind of funny the way they position those start flags, where the first one's right on that hill. So anybody with any common sense is going to use the downside of that hill to get a run, because you know the other guy's going up.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Jake the Snake trying to work his way to the 906 of Ryan Mulder.
Oh, Mulder's got a flat, right rear flat. I saw him come off that jump a little sideways and a kick.
Did you see Poynton get on 2 wheels?
Yeah, those holes are developing now, and these little cars are not going to like that.
As they come across one more time, Greaves, Martin, Poynton, Lunderby now up to 4th. And these guys are battling it out. That's Mulder, the 906. You see him in the mix. Martin still in 2nd, holding off Poynton right now. And Poynton finished strong yesterday, or in the last round here at TORC, the Off-Road Championship, with a 3rd place finish. But Martin was, again, just right in front of him in 2nd.
Yeah, Poynton's really been coming on strong. And, you know, I don't know a lot about him or his dad, but I see the two of them that seem to come together by themselves in a little closed trailer. And the kid drives the wheels off that thing. He had me grit my teeth a couple times when I watched him at ERX. He just drives it in hard and hucks it in there, and you see he just caught a couple of those holes. He's going for it.
Yeah, you got to respect that. And he's back there in 3rd place. Jake Lunderby on the yellow Yamaha, back and forth. But yeah, the way they are right now, 1, 2, and 3, the same way they finished yesterday. But Zach Martin still doing a good job holding off on that SOB built Motorsports Victory Lane Yamaha, 918 out of Cochran, Georgia. You see him leading in that red, number 918.
Looked like Lunderby got a little bit of a run in the front section. He might have made up a car length or two, so maybe he can get in there and mix it up with these boys and get himself a podium again.
Point's trying to go that low route, the shorter distance, trying to be a little bit quicker. Dylan Poynton in the 929, Lunderby closing in, but Poynton, the Dragonfire Maxxis Victory Motorsports machine out of Littleton, Colorado. I heard a lot of Victory Motorsports throughout the years and covering motocross, and Lunderby is starting to put on the charge. He knows with only 2 laps left, he's got to make that move soon.
Yeah, and Poynton isn't you know, looking at that hole close enough. He needs to change his line, because he's hit it the last 2 laps, and he's given up speed in that corner.
Is that a case of a driver looking too far at his nose and not looking out, or just saying, I don't care, I'm going to hit it?
This kid just drives hard. I don't think anything bothers him what's in front of him. I saw him throw that thing into some huge holes, and he didn't crash. So I think it's the case of he hasn't crashed yet, so he's going to keep pushing it. But Lunderby saw that time. So Lunderby's definitely going to be looking for, I'll bet you Lunderby's going to come in here high, wait for him to hike a little bit, and he's going to dive to the bottom.
So watch, we'll find out. Will Poynton, the driver in 3rd, we'll see if he gets into that hole that he's been hitting each time. As there's a white flag, there's 2nd, there's 3rd, and it's exactly what you said. Lunderby goes to that inside.
I don't think he could.
But that's going to set him up on the outside that next turn, and that won't help him. But CJ's really checking out. A 2.6 second advantage with only 1 more lap to go.
Yeah, right now it's just CJ's got to just drive that thing home like he's been doing, and you know, he just loves getting in that little Yamaha. Every day he's like, that's what he does during the week. He works on that car.
That's fun.
We each have a mechanic for the Pro 4s, and he actually maintains a couple other cars that we keep at our shop for guys that are racing the TORC series from out of town.
He works on the mechanic. He does? Are you kidding me? Really?
Yeah.
That's good.
There's guys that getting their cars prepped by the champion.
That's cool. And the checker flag comes out for CJ Greaves once again. 5 races, 5 wins for CJ, 33. The 933 taking victory here at Crandon. Martin in second, Pointing in third. Lunderby followed by Thomas. Unofficially here, the results, top 5 in pro stock. We'll hear from our podium finishers right after this at TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL.
For 41 years, winning drivers in all forms of motorsports have relied on VP Racing Fuels for leading-edge technology to optimize performance and power them to the winner's circle. Now you can get the same benefit with VP Additives, formulated for gas and diesel engines. It's race fuel technology for your daily driver, and the perfect way to clean out your fuel system and put the power back in your drive. VP Additives are available at your local AutoZone store. For more information, visit vpracingfuels.com.
TORC, the Off-Road Championship, is brought to you by Vision. From high-speed desert racing in Baja to short course carnage, Vision has arrived. And by Maxxis, built for adventure.
Looking down trackside here at Crandon, the fans turning out and seeing an excellent pro stock UTV race. Excellent if you're CJ Greaves, because he takes his 5th win of the season in 5 races. Let's go down to CJ with Kate Osborne.
Five for 5. He knows how to get it done here in UTV. But CJ, you have run now in Pro 4 today, outrunning here, checking lines, getting ready because there's a big event coming up later that maybe you need a little revenge for as well. What did you learn here today that you can take into the Cup?
You know, we're just going to do our thing, run our lines, and see what we can do there. But I just can't thank everyone from Yamaha, Monster Energy, Graves, Speed Cell, Maxxis Tires, Fox Shocks, Method Race Wheels, Forest County Potawatomi, all my crew that helps me out. We really appreciate it, and this car almost drives itself. I mean, I don't know how to get the setup much better, but we're just going to keep pushing it, making little tweaks on it. I know these guys are going to keep pushing behind me, so we're going to keep doing our thing.
Perfect season so far for CJ Greaves.
Kate, tell CJ Dad wants to see him smile.
Hey, by the way, your dad wants to see you smile.
We've got
competition.
Drama for him mama when he gets back to the pits, and you still got to race him in the Cup race. I didn't know he was that bad, Johnny, but you see the unofficial results.
I haven't been back to the pit yet, so I don't know what the situation is.
This is the truth. This is the truth. The top 3 looked like it did in the last round with Zach Martin in second out of Cochrane, Georgia, and Kate has caught up with him.
Well, that wasn't exactly the way that you thought that race was going to go there, Zach. It was not. You were not only defending, got a good cheering crowd there. Not only were you defending your 2nd place in the podium there, but you had a little difficulty. What was it?
Yeah, we came off the first jump right here. We came off pretty hard, and we lost the radio instantly. So I had nothing going on. That's the whole reason we, passed CJ there at the yellow. We had no communication with anybody. So it was a quiet race.
Quiet race indeed, but worth it here. 2nd place in the podium.
Sometimes you can focus on the race ahead instead of everything that the spotter's been telling you. But for safety reasons, they want you to have that, but things do happen. There's the point standing. Martin gains another couple points on point. Kenny Mash, I didn't even see him in this race. Drops back to 4th now, and he had that wreck yesterday. Want to see him back in the mix soon. Case caught up with Mr. Point.
Well, Johnny Greaves has been in the booth saying that you drive this thing hard, and that's actually what we just saw. It was a battle to the finish line. For you, how critical is this 3rd place here in the season?
You know, we're looking at long-term out here. We're really wanting to do well by the end of the season, and that was the toughest battle I've had all year. Hats off to bikemen. They're really pushing those Polarises, and this is just a blast. I couldn't have done all this without my dad. All of our sponsors, Weller Racing, Dragonfire, Maxxis Tires, Race on Wheels, and Vickery Motorsports. They've all helped us out a ton to get us up here.
Hey, Johnny, you were right. He and his dad are a great team, pulling another 3rd here today.
Yeah, Dylan Pointing out of Colorado. Another podium finish for him. We'll see how he does at the next stop at Mark River. We're at beautiful Crandon, Wisconsin, about 2 hours north of Green Bay. The pro stocks are done. The pro mods are coming up next here at TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. They call it the Big House Brawl.
Trailblade Tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
Cooper tires on the ground go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper. An American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
Welcome inside our booth here at Crandon, Wisconsin. Johnny Greaves, the man who won the Pro 4. We'll see him in a little bit in the Cup Challenge race and get to see another head-to-head matchup with himself and CJ as they work their way through the field in the Pro 2-wheel drives. We see CJ a little disappointed. It's hard. He's still young, and he holds on. But you told me something just a minute ago that accidents happen. It's happened to CJ before, and you kind of have to do that, and there was no intention there, but you're going to have to go out there and face these guys again in a little bit.
Well, and you know, one thing about CJ is he runs everybody so clean and never lets stuff like that happen. And then it did happen to him one time with him and Chad Hort at Bark River, and it was the same situation. CJ's inside, and he's just trying to get a door in there, and all of a sudden, you know, Chad steps out a little bit, and CJ had momentum, and
that's where he
just touched him, and Chad spun around, and CJ goes on to win the race. And, you know, he felt really bad about it and apologized the whole time. And I said, CJ, you know, that's all you can do. I mean, it's racing. Chad understands it. You know, he forgave him. So I think, you know, with time, CJ will forgive me.
And no matter how many times you say, I didn't mean to. Sure you did. No, I didn't mean to, but
he knows, but, you know, they are young, and he's a little worked up right now. And, you know, he didn't finish on the podium, so I took the point lead, and I'm sure he's not happy about that.
That's for certain.
He's going to be on a mission.
Don't make the little mutants mad.
Like, I think I'll just start behind him in the next race.
We'll find out what's going to happen in a bit. Kate Osborne, I know you're the maven of social media, and I saw you posting pics of our bowling extravaganza at Hodag Lanes last night.
Because it was awesome.
Yeah, it was good, and quite the bowler you are as well.
Yeah, if I have bumpers. I mean, my bowling skills are not so great, but on social media, on the other hand, we want to hear from you. And you know what's really cool is obviously we're hearing from Johnny his side of the story, which is not really a story, I guess, but you know his side of what happened earlier. CJ, you can tell, is a little bit upset. We're gonna have Johnny in the booth for a little bit longer, so make sure you send the questions in. You know, I want to understand Johnny. I mean,
cell service is crazy around here. I'm not getting the question. You're going to have to give me those. Okay.
Regardless, okay, hang on. I want to get back to that one, but I do want to make sure you guys know that hashtag it TORC17 for anything that you want us to see. Make sure to use hashtag TORC17. Find us on all of the social medias. We are here to give you behind-the-scenes look, exclusive videos, pictures that we just can't get here on the program. But hey, Johnny, one of the things that I just want to understand about, I mean, I can't fathom. My mom was a swim coach, but we never swam against each other. She was my swim coach, and that was unique in and of itself. I don't understand, like, what are dinner conversations like for you guys, and especially maybe dinner tonight? Yeah. I mean,
do you talk shop like that? Do you talk racing, or do you try to stay away from it?
You know, we try to just put the races behind us, you know, after it's over, and whatever happens, happens. I mean, I've been through so much of this in my 25 years of doing this. I've been on the short end, I've been on the receiving end, the giving end, and everything. And, you know, my wife has always told me I take it too easy sometimes, and I should get upset and whatever. And you know, you gotta just say it's still. I'm fortunate enough; it's my job, right? And I don't want to be upset when I leave here. I just want to be happy that I'm doing it, and whatever happened, and I try to shake it off. And
you're going to do it with your son, though. Yeah, I mean, that's the coolest part. And you see the pride in yourself watching him. You're grooming him to do things that you weren't able to do, and he's doing it at a much earlier age. You know, multiple championships, holding them at the same time. I mean, he's quite the phenom. my question too, and some people may ask this on social media, and we've asked this before. We've seen drivers like Robbie Gordon, Jimmy Johnson. This started in doing this stuff and move on to different things. You don't want to say bigger and better things because he loves doing what he's doing. But does he still have aspirations of doing something, maybe asphalt ovals or something like that?
Well, he may have now more than ever, right?
Yeah. You're driving him that way, Johnny.
No, I mean, he's always looking and, you know, getting calls and getting a lot of interest in other things. But, you know, he grew up, you know, in a swing hanging from the end of our awning, and all he knows is off-road and motocross, and he just loves the dirt. And these two sports are very similar,
Sure.
you know, and that's what he loves. And he's had a lot of opportunities in asphalt and done it. And, you know, you just don't see the excitement in him. So I don't know what he'll do. But that he was younger then. He's definitely growing up in the last 2 years, you know, now that he's out of the house and doing his own thing. And you see him, you know, being a lot more of an adult over a lot of things. So, you know, maybe he'll start going, you know what, there's a lot more money in that, and I want to someday have, you know, a nicer place or my own shop or my own race team or whatever. So who knows where it'll go, but he's definitely got a lot of opportunities there, and you know, we'll see what happens.
We'll see. He's doing great here in TORC, the Off-Road Championship, and another Greaves-built machine's doing pretty darn good, winning all but one race this year. And the Pro Modifieds are going to move their way up the line. Another Land Rush start. The Pro Mods when we return.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Rugged radios. Work, race, play.
Hey, Steve, where you at?
Experience clear communications through headsets or helmet kits.
I'm up on the hill to your right. Oh, there you are.
Talk vehicle to vehicle.
Keep the radio contact going. Copy?
Talk to passengers.
Copy that, I gotcha.
And stream your favorite music. Complete communications for UTVs, base camp, toy haulers, or off-road vehicles. Rugged Radios, the authority in communications.
The rain is holding off for now here in Crandon, Wisconsin. We still have plenty more racing ahead. First up will be the Pro Mod UTVs, where Kyle Cheney may be the series points leader with consistent second place finishes. There's been 4 races. He's finished second in all of them in his Can-Am, but it's been Rodney Van Eperen with the most wins, taking the victory at round 1, 3, and 5. The only one he didn't, he had a mechanical DNF where he finished 16th at the second Crandon, and that was just literally a $2 part. You know, something comes loose, and it cost him a lot of points in the championship. Right now, 16 points behind Kyle Cheney, but he's been the driver to beat. And he's a driver that races Pro 2. He did last year. He's been a buggy, champion as well. You can tell he's having a lot of fun in the Pro Mod UTVs.
Well, he is, and when these things, I mean, Rodney owns that dealership, Power Sports
Right.
1, sells a ton of these things. And when they first came out and he called me, he's like, oh, you got to come and drive this. These things are sick. I'm like, I'm not going to have anything to do with that. And we just kind of blew it off for a year. And then you start looking at the magazines and seeing it on social media and stuff like that. And I went over to his place one day and we took out the demo and then we brought it down to Texas and we ran around the track and used it a little bit. And yeah, everything snowballed from there. And at that point, Rodney was in that transition. Do I race Pro 2? Do I got to put another motor? And I'm like, Rod, this is your deal. This is for you. It fits your dealership. It fits everything.
Right.
And but let's build a mod.
Yeah.
Let me just go crazy on this thing, and it turned out pretty good.
Yeah. What did he lose yesterday? I saw plastic fly up. What was that up at the dash? Did you even ask him, or did you notice?
Oh, the front little cowl there. There's 2 10mm screws that hold that on, and somebody must have left those off. So
when I saw that fly up,
whoosh.
I'm like, what else is going to go up if you forgot to latch that down? But yeah, he is doing well, and a Pro 2 driver. And he said if you and him could get some test time. He wants to be back here maybe for the second Crandon in the fall, and I'd like to see him in the Pro 2 mixing it up with those drivers as well. Another thing about the UTVs, it's also a good side-by-side vehicle for him to take, and your son to take his son, Owen Van Eperen, getting to ride side-by-side and see what it's like to go fast in those vehicles. And that's something cool that, I don't know, how old's Owen? 8 years old? You know?
Yeah, he's 8 or 9. And I was just telling somebody that they were saying how good Owen is in that limited trophy cart thing, and he makes moves. And I said, you know what? Every time we take these side-by-sides out, the 2-seater, Owen is in there. And you know how much he's learning riding with his dad? Yeah. I mean, I don't even want to ride with his dad, and that kid will ride all day long.
Dan CJ.
Oh, yeah.
CJ takes him around, too. So, yeah, he's learning.
If there's an empty seat, Owen's in it.
Yeah, he's in the Excel program, and he is one of the fastest young kids in the country. All right, we see the starter up there on top of the concrete wall, and time to fire things up. Cheney's going to be on the far inside. Rodney Van Eperen next to him. Zach Zakowski in third. Looks like the Can-Am with a hole shot, at least through the first turn.
I think we have Farr on the inside there. Farr, yeah. Farr and Cheney, those are the 2 Can-Ams.
Cheney was supposed to be starting up there. That doesn't mean that was the case. And Rodney missed the Forest County Potawatomi first turn. I don't think he had the hole shot, but he really turned it into one on that front straightaway.
Now he's got 2 Can-Ams just breathing down his neck. Those guys get their race sorted out.
Farr in the 804, Cheney in the 891. Again, all the 8-class vehicles are pro mods.
Looks like Cheney has taken over that second spot now.
So you see the XBS livery, CT Racework Can-Am with Kyle Cheney in second behind Rodney Van Eperen, Farr, Zakowski, Gilliland, the 813 in the top 5. Schultz up into 6th, Shimmick into 7th. Luberg up inside the top 10, and Pointer rounding out that top 10. And that's been the crazy part for me, is how Travis Pointer wins the championship last year. Everything was going right, and this year nothing could go right. It just shows you how quickly things can change.
Things can change, and like I said, last year everybody was kind of experimenting with this, and those guys actually had a real team. So they were probably a step ahead of everybody. And everybody took this off season to get serious about it. You didn't see these 2 guys out here. These guys both GNCC champions, and that's a Can-Am factory program that they're getting help with. And so this is 2 serious guys right here.
The GNCC, the Grand National Cross Country races, a little bit different than the track you're seeing right now, but I mean, they definitely have skills and they have the equipment to deal with it. Rodney Van Eperen on that Power Sports 1. Johnny, the crazy thing on his sponsor list, he didn't even list his own shop, but he's on that Yamaha Motor Corporation machine. Ken Osborne, you have more?
You know, it was funny, earlier today I was looking at Rodney, look at his UTV, and you could tell he was just so focused. And I went up to him, I was like, what are you thinking about? He goes, I'm thinking about how to go fast. He goes, I learned that I can follow well, but that minute that I'm out in front, I'm a little too conservative. I'm putting it in safe mode, and I need to commit to those turns. And it was interesting watching him work through really what he needed to do. Johnny, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's funny because in the spring, me and Rodney go out and we mess around with these things, and for the longest time, I would start behind him, and I'm trying to get that in his head, get him to do more sprints. You know what I mean? And I could run up on him and I could pass him, and then once I pass him, he'd latch on to me, and then he'd almost be ready to pass you back. So we're working on that with him, kid. We got to get him figuring that out a little quicker and get his sprints going early.
You see him there with a couple of Can-Ams in his rearview mirror. Yellow flag being waved, so not able to make the pass in that section, but now all things are clear.
It's like Gillian pulled off to the side there.
And with Rodney where he is right now, he's not pulling away. You don't necessarily know how much he wants to, but I think he wouldn't mind it right now. I don't think he's really saving the equipment. Both of those Can-Ams behind him are really hanging on tight. It might actually be a little bit faster. I think they're learning from Rodney Van Eperen.
Well, those Can-Ams, I mean, they're turbo. Rodney has no turbo. You can only run a turbo if the car comes with a turbo. So that's a natural aspirated, the Yamaha is. So it's got motor work and everything they can do to, there's limits on it, but it works out pretty even. But the turbo car definitely spools up nicer. It's smoother on the acceleration, and then once it gets spooled up and that turbo boost really hits, those things accelerate.
I see a blue groove. Did you see that? We're in UTVs, and they're the ones bringing out the blue groove. I didn't expect that necessarily today.
Yeah, I think Rodney's being a little cautious in the beginning, you know, figuring out where those holes are, and now he's finding his lines where he can get up early and cut down and get a better exit speed.
So who's spotting for him now as we take that competition caution? Who's spotting for him since you're in the booth with me?
Well, probably his dad, which, you know, it's not that he doesn't appreciate it, but his dad doesn't have enough to say to him. Rod likes it when I'm in his ear all the time, telling him what lines he needs to run, you know, just helping him. And when I spot for CJ or Rodney or any of those guys, you know, I like to talk the whole time, and they get used to that.
Yeah.
And then his dad gets on there, and he don't say anything until the end of the race.
Well, a group that you like to talk about is the Forest County Potawatomis. They're one of your sponsors and a big sponsor here at TORC. Let's take a look.
When you see Potawatomi, what do you think of? Casinos? Hotels? Well, think again. You may not know that the Potawatomi Business Development Corporation has been awarded over 600 contracts to instruct, analyze, design, develop, and implement systems for the United States government for aviation, defense, and homeland security. It's just another way Potawatomi is creating jobs in Wisconsin that make an impact around the world. Potawatomi, keepers of the fire, builders of the future.
And there's the spotter stand, the Forest County Potawatomi turn number 1. And that's a good vantage point. You can see the entire track. They have to look for their left down that, you know, Argonne turn and going up in that tree turn that you were talking about. But a big track, a lengthy track here. And the short course guys, they only have to stay facing forward. Everything's straight in front of them. You can actually run this track at nighttime. There's lights for that. No need for that as long as clear skies. Is a Yamaha Pace vehicle leading the field. Yamaha in front of Rodney Van Eperen. Second place, Kyle Cheney. Third, Tim Farr. Both of those guys on the Can-Ams. They'll get in that acceleration zone, and let's see if the Can-Am's been holding back at all. When they come across the stripe, 1.5 seconds separated those front 3. And Rodney also had an uh-oh moment going into that last lap at the last round. We'll see if he has any uh-oh moments here today. And he gets on the throttle on the downside. A perfect start. Green means go. And Rodney Van Eperen trying to win his 4th race of the season.
See how well that Can-Am kind of sticks slower? It's almost like having a converter with the CVT clutch they got. You know, it brings the power on real smooth. You know, Rodney's got a stick shift, so, we got one far taking a run on the outside. I don't know if that's going to work.
He was on the far outside and actually lost. He got tagged. I believe that was Schultz that got into him. He was so far out there, he had to turn back in sometime, but somebody was there.
Yeah. He thought it looked like a good idea, and I think as he got closer, he's like, no, I need to pinch this back down. And somebody already had filled the gap, but who's that? Is that Lulberg coming up?
Yeah, Lulberg's worked his way up into the top 5, and Far back there in 3rd, 4th. Lulberg's on the gas.
Yeah, he is.
Rodney Van Eperen, I saw him around that finish line, or that, you know, that AMSOIL finish line there, and it looked like he was taking a middle of the road approach. Didn't want to let anybody underneath, but then again, no one's going to be able to run around the outside.
No, he's running a conservative line, but you see Jason Lulberg's got the fastest lap right now. He's even running harder than Rodney.
888 with the quickest lap. It shows 889 on there, but I know that's 804 now with the quickest one. So far, it's turning it up. Everybody's starting to turn it up. Hey, Kate Osborne, do you have a question for Johnny Greaves?
Yeah, so you're saying that everyone's turning it up. The pressure is becoming more and more great as we're coming to the finish line here. You know, Johnny, one of the things you and I were talking about earlier today was that this is one of those classes that you cannot make mistakes. The mistakes in this class have a lot worse outcomes than even making mistakes in a truck. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, yeah, you know, they're limited tire, limited horsepower. You put one of these things a little too deep and get it out on that cushion, 3 of them are going to go underneath you. You're in a Pro 4, you put it out there, you just mash the gas, and hopefully you can get it straightened back in towards the main groove, and, you know, maybe someone will get alongside you. But, you know, anything limited, it's really important that you're just perfectly smooth. And, you know, like I've told so many people, when you can drive something limited like this perfect, it makes getting into that next step a lot easier, because these are a great learning tool.
All right, you see it right there. There'll be 2 laps to go, but the driver to look for is not in that top 3. It's Jason Lulberg on his Polaris, that Bikeman Performance Polaris out of Zanesville, Ohio. You see him with the orange roll cage there. He started 20th on the line, has worked his way up to the top 4. he could get in the top 3, but with 2 laps remaining, he can still win this thing as hard as he's been charging.
Yeah, he's pushing hard, and yesterday you saw him coming on strong, and he was giving Rodney fits, and you know, I'm not sure what happened. I saw him pull off. I missed part of that race, but
yeah, Tim Farr finished the top 3 right, and he dropped out of the picture. Must have been something mechanical, but a right-hand turn for Rodney Van Eperen. This was a scary turn for him at the last round. He hit one of those potholes. Let's see if he can stay out of it today. Cheney's really running it in hard. Now they're going to see that white flag as they come around. This time, 1 more lap to go for the Pro Mod UTVs. Van Eperen, Cheney, Farr, Luberg, the top 4. You can throw a blanket over them.
This is when Rodney really wishes I was on the headphones, I'll guarantee you, because he wants to know everything that's going on. And
the position with the driver behind him.
Yeah, and where that guy's running and where he's trying to make a move. And, you know, I'm sure his dad don't see that as well as I do. And right now, I really don't see anywhere that, you know, Cheney has set something up, but he's going to, there it is.
Rodney went inside and Cheney went inside of inside. I don't know that really caused Cheney. He didn't lose any ground for sure. This is going to be a tough one. 1 more right-hander, and Rodney needs to start closing it down, and he does. Make him go the long way around, right, Johnny?
Yeah.
Van Eperen in the lead. If he holds that tight line and Luberg goes on his wheels, we'll see if he can fire it up. Van Eperen's going to take the win. It's going to be unofficially as they cross the finish line. Van Eperen looks like he takes the win. Was that Cheney in second, followed by Farr? Oh, man, my timing and scoring's going crazy, but I know Rodney Van Eperen won that race. Luberg landed on his lid, but I think it should be
Cheney and Farr.
Cheney and Farr rounding out the top 3, and we'll hear from them in just a bit here in Crandon.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Cooper tires on the ground, go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper, an American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
Well, the clouds are starting to get a little bit dark here at round 6 of TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. We've actually completed 5 rounds because weather was a big factor at ERX, and stop number 4 is postponed till later on in the year. But we've had, what, 5 races so far in 2017 in Pro Mod UTVs, and 4 times we've had the same winner. That's Rodney Van Eperen on that Power Sports 1 machine, and he takes the #1 spot once again.
Kate, ask him if that's my hat.
Rodney, first and foremost, Johnny Greaves is wondering if that's his hat.
Yeah, I'm just borrowing it here for a little bit, but holy man, I just can't get a little cushion on these guys. But you know what? I'll take wins any way we can get them, and that's fun racing. You know, I've been running with these two nonstop, and you really have no worries about them doing anything dirty or anything. So we had a blast out there. Got to thank Yamaha Motor Corp, Yamaha Racing, Yamalube, Donnie, Steve, Glenn, Keith, all the guys in the race department, my crew here, Chad Winkler, Hutch, my mom, my dad, my kids, Power Sports 1, Beyond Redline, Maxis, Graves, Method, All Terrain Communications, radios are working great. Blue Crew, everybody, thank you very much, it's awesome.
Hey Rodney, one of the things you told me earlier today is you really wanted to work on becoming a little bit more aggressive into those turns, committing to those turns. You want to learn how to go fast. How well do you think you are doing right now?
Not good. I don't. You know, the first half of the race, I felt like I did good, and I gave myself a little pep talk on the halfway lap, and I'm like, all right, now I'm going to step it up, and I just get real conservative and cover my lines. And come Bark River, we're going to have to work on that. We're going to let it hang out a little bit.
I'm sure Johnny can help you out with that as well. As long as you're wearing his hat, I'm sure you guys can share a lot. Rodney Van Eperen, first place here.
Well, there's times when you need to be covering lines, and at times in that race, he definitely needed to be in that defensive line. So you can't fault him too much as he takes a win. Again, 4 out of 5, and the mechanical's what's really keeping him out of this picture. But when you see Cheney behind you every single time, you're only gaining 2 points. But, hey, kudos to Kyle Cheney. He's finished 5 races in 2nd place, and that's leading in the championship.
Hey, Robbie, consistency pays, and that is something that is incredibly important for Kyle Cheney right now. 2nd place is becoming very comfortable for you. You almost had Rodney a couple of different times out there today. What did he have on you? You almost got him.
I mean, he was able to get me off the whole shot, and that helped a lot, and it kind of helped me too. I was able to follow some of his lines. But I mean, Rodney was driving good, and Tim was driving good behind me, so I was trying to still try to stay in front of Tim, but then focus on Rodney, and it was tough to do. But you know, I'm happy me and Tim up here again. You know, we were closer today than we were yesterday. I tried to put a couple of moves on him, but he closed the door on me that last right-hand corner. I was hoping he'd swing wide again, and I'd be able to get under him, but his spotter must have told him, hey, hang close to that corner. So, but, you know, it was a great race.
All right, Kyle Cheney, when he gets that 1st place, it's going to be rather sweet, huh?
Strong run by him in those 2nd places. You know he wants that win, and he'll get the win if he keeps going like he's going. But Rodney's pretty tough to beat. But Rodney's getting in his own head, it sounds like.
Yeah, Rodney he does that every time we go riding our dirt bikes, and if I beat him, you know.
How often is that?
Not a lot, but it happens once in a while.
He's fast on a motocross bike, too?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go down to Cade Osborne, who's with 3rd place Tim Farr.
Tim Farr right now working through what maybe you could have done a little better in that race. What was it?
You know, the track kind of turned a little bit more one line today. I think just from the weather conditions. I mean, it was in great condition. There just wasn't a lot of places to go to make passes. You had to stay on the fast line. I had pressure behind me there towards the end. When I wanted to try to make a pass, I got a little wide, and a guy got into me, and I thought, man, I need to be on the podium. So I kind of tried to follow in and just wait for an opportunity that never came.
He's definitely a racer, always wanting to learn more, but a 3rd place finish for Tim Farr.
As the track prep still underway, we still have more racing ahead. The Pro Lights coming up next. Still more truck action here at Crandon at TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by Amsoil. We're at the Big House Brawl.
Trailblade tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
When it comes to guarding your engine, Amsoil offers the next level performance enthusiasts demand. Amsoil provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond protection it deserves. Amsoil, devoted to protection.
Welcome back to Crandon as Johnny Greaves exits the announcer's booth. We'll see him in the Cup race a little bit later. Track prep underway. Luke Johnson steps in next to me now, and he'll get to call the Pro Light race. And you'll also hop out of here and get in for the Cup race a little bit later. So you're a busy man, LJ14.
I am a busy man, that's for sure.
You were hauling too. I know you wanted to get on that podium, but you still made up points coming from 8th up to 4th as welcome inside the booth here in Crandon. Went from 8th up to 4th, so you were able to salvage some, but I know you wanted to be on top of that box because you did have a fast truck today.
It was definitely heartbreaking. I mean, I got back to the trailer, and I could hear over the announcing that my lap time was with less than 1/10 of a second from Brad's fast lap, so it puts a huge what if. We didn't have those issues, but it seems we may have got a bad barrel of fuel, and we had some water in the system upon further analysis. So it's a tough break, but you know, I think a 4th is a good salvage for everything we went through. Had a couple drivers spin out in front of me, had to make the best out of that. So, you know what, we look forward to the rest of the day.
And if you keep doing what you're doing, Brad, you don't want to wish any bad luck on him, but you had your DNF, and then typically it happens in a 13-round season, so anything can happen.
Yeah,
we
definitely still have a long way to go in this season, and everyone has their day in the sun. Today was if today's my darkest day at a 4th place, Not a bad day in the office.
You're all right. How about the weather there? I know you step in this booth and we're kind of isolated from everything else there. How's it looking?
It's actually been pretty good. I mean, there's been some very, very, very light drizzle, but other than
Mother
that,
Nature water in the track?
But yeah, well, not quite as much as round 5, but definitely doing better today.
That's all right. Good. Good to see your hopes up. So they're taking care of that fuel situation. You'll be back in the Pro 2. They still haven't set that delta, but you still have a chance of winning some card hold cash a little bit later, don't you?
Yeah, yep. So definitely going to carry over a little bit of that frustration into the Cup race later on today, which hoping to have some success there. But we obviously showed we can be fast, and that was with a car that was a little down on horsepower today.
Yeah, he'll turn up the horsepower in just a bit. Cup race coming up here in a few moments, but also we have, or a little bit later on in the day, we have the Pro Lights coming up next. Stick with us here at TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL.
For 41 years, winning drivers in all forms of motorsports have relied on VP Racing Fuels for leading-edge technology to optimize performance and power them to the winner's circle. Now you can get the same benefit with VP Additives, formulated for gas and diesel engines. It's race fuel technology for your daily driver, and the perfect way to clean out your fuel system and put the power back in your drive. VP Additives are available at your local AutoZone store. For more information, visit vpracingfuels.com.
TORC, the Off-Road Championship, is brought to you by AMSOIL, devoted to protection, and by Cooper Tires. We make tires for people, not just cars.
The Pro Lights are on the starting line here at Crandon to TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL, the Big House Brawl. Who's going to win the Pro Light race where Kyle Kleiman was dominant at the last round? We're about to find out. I'd like to welcome back into the booth my partner and the Pro 2 driver that had some difficulties there, Luke Johnson. LJ, I know you had some mechanical issues, but now you're back in the booth ready to call races for the Pro Lights. But we had some racing also earlier in the Pro Stock and Pro Mod UTVs. These little guys are turning it on. I'm ready for you to get into one of those.
Well, as long as I wasn't in the booth, I was watching trackside, though.
Let's take a look at the Pro Stock UTVs. It started out with CJ Greaves, the man who's won every race this year, on the pole. 4 races, he's won all 4. And there you go. You see some carnage on the first lap. Peyton Mills out of Monroe, North Carolina, going over in 4 other cars, but they restarted. And after that, some banging, some bumping, but really those top 3 drivers, the way that they finished in the last round, finished the same way in this round. CJ Greaves, Zach Martin, Dylan Poynton, they stayed 1, 2, and 3. But when you see cars that with this short a wheelbase, you see the holes starting to develop. Anything can happen at any time, but really no more rollovers, no more contact, and a perfect season so far for CJ Greaves. 5 races, 5 wins. In the Pro Mod UTVs, it was a different story. Kyle Cheney started on pole in the Can-Am and his Maxxis tires, but Rodney Van Eperen gets a good start. But up front, those top 3 drivers, top 4 drivers at any point, man, they were really, really tight to each other.
Yeah, this race seemed to be one that was pretty tight. And here towards the end, you see Rodney Van Eperen wheeling that Yamaha around up front, just stretching just a little bit of lead here after the mandatory caution.
Kyle Cheney out of Ohio on the Can-Am in 2nd place. He's finished 2nd in every single race this season. Look how close he is coming to take the checkered flag. It was Jason Luberg that goes on his lid. He goes from 4th back to 6th. But again, Rodney Van Eperen, he is just untouchable in the Pro Mods. LJ, you see the track now as they do the track preparation, and they're still pulling off UTVs. I thought it was a pretty straightforward race, but well, I guess the guys dropping like flies in other parts of the track that I couldn't see.
Well, as we talked about at round 5, they had to qualify to get into the event. However, with today's unfortunate circumstances with the weather from last night, the rain kept the UTVs from qualifying this morning. So you're seeing a typically larger field than you normally would, where they qualify you into just the top 20.
Pro Lights coming up next. You talk to anybody? Were they asking any questions as you make your way back towards the booth about what the track's looking like physically from a driver's standpoint?
From my standpoint, there were some pretty big holes in the chicane that we're looking here on the screen. Those were some of the biggest holes, but the cushion's very thick. So if you get off the line, off the main line, it'll pull you down quick, which we saw a little bit during the Pro 4 race before I got out there, and very much so continued to be the case when I was up there. But as the skies have let up, I think we're going to have a good track here for these Pro Lights.
I saw a little blue groove for the UTVs. And again, you talk about these holes, blue groove, thick cushion. They're all variables the way I look at it. I mean, you don't necessarily need a slick, glass slick racetrack for it to be a good racetrack. You like a little variety in there because it sets the drivers apart.
It definitely does, and it's an ever-changing thing as you go around this track. The holes get bigger, the blue groove sections get a little bit longer, the cushion chases up the corners, and it's being able to adapt to that every single lap is what's going to put you up in the front. And from where I was having my fuel issues trying to come back through the field, I had to be creative with line choice, making my way through.
Dark skies as you look at the Forest County Potawatomi Turn 1 as we prepare for the Pro Lights, the final big truck race. As you take a look, what does it take to make a Pro Light? You know, Luke Johnson, as you sit next to me, you've been in this class a time or two, and things haven't really changed much from last year to this year in this class.
No, they've been sorting things out with this V8 package over the last, I want to say, 7 or 8 years, and it's definitely been a very, very exciting class to be a part of. However, I'm very happy to not be.
You're in the Pro 2s now?
I did my fair share as we see Cowboy running across, checking these guys off before we take the green.
Travis Dinsmore, the 43s on the outside. On the inside's Cody Kleiman. You see third from the right. That would be Kyle Kleiman. He's your series points leader. Also the previous winner of the last 2 rounds. We'll see how he gets, how he does with his start. Just to his right, our left as we see it, is Cam Reimers in the Liquid Wrench entry. He had a strong start yesterday, but also Sean Morris, he had one heck of a hole shot. Looks like he's out in front now. Kleiman's going to be on his outside. I think it's all Kleiman this time. Cody even on the inside, but it's going to be Kyle with a hole shot.
Man, that was a run from Kyle around the outside. That yellow Ponzi truck taking the lead and stretching it out pretty early here, but
whoa!
Chad Rayford going for a nasty roll there.
That was a massive crash. Chad Rayford, that's going to bring out the red flag. I'm quite sure of that one because at least 8 rolls, not end over end, but I mean, you were spinning like a top there for Rayford. Yeah, they shut him down really fast. The guys in front have no idea what happened, and we'll have to take another look, but that is the fastest turn in short course off-road racing, exiting, and if you're not straight, you land crooked typically off that next jump, and you would probably think that had something to do with it.
Absolutely, that's definitely a scary place to be in, and we all fear this, but you see
the red truck
Chad Rayford
clipped.
Coming across, clips the 28 of Sorick, and it just takes a little bit. Off he goes. That's a tough break for the Flying Dutchman machine of Rayford.
And as the question is, both of those lines intersect, and something had to give. All right, look, as they're going to make their way around there, and it may be a red flag. It could still be another land rush start. because they did not complete a lap. Didn't even take the green to be that.
They didn't even make it to the start-finish or the finish line there. So obviously we got the impact safety crew down there taking a good look at Chad Rayford, always doing a good job of making sure the drivers are okay. So
absolutely, that's our biggest crash of the year.
That is huge. Unfortunately, I've been one of the guys to put the highlight reel together for having one of those nasty crashes, but we definitely wish the best for Chad Rayford and that Kenda Flying Dutchman machine. He's been fast all year. I believe he's
second at Elk River.
Yeah, second. I think he was either second or third.
Second at Chicago, second at Elk River. Yeah, he dropped back in points after that.
Yeah, he had a
six at the last
mechanical.
round.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, a couple of seconds already this year. So yeah, he had been fast. And hopefully everything's all right with him and everything's all right with that truck as well. The fortunate thing about when you're flipping like that is you're not touching the ground to do the damage.
Yeah, and
as they tow off Chad Rayford's truck, that thing does look pretty darn tweaked. Not what you wanted to have if you're Chad Rayford. The rest of the crew, they see that truck and they've got to get it out of their minds as they prepare to restart this Pro Light race. So as they line up side by side by their original starting order, it's going to be Cody Kleiman that's going to be leading the field with Sean Morris on his outside. You see that second row with Cam Reimers and Kyle Kleiman. Looks like
Sorik's out of the field at the moment.
Sorik's in the pits for whatever reason. He pulled off, but it's going to be Carlson and Dinsmore in that acceleration zone. It looks like a good start by Morris. He's on that outside. Again, the track is fresh, but Cody climbing the Ponzi entry, 48 is on it. But hey, the Kenda tire entry might have just drove around the outside of him.
He's got some definitely good hook. He's got the line coming down in here, and dust, we haven't seen much of that today. So with the skies open, you see taking that wide line, but you see he slingshots back in, closing the gap.
Oh, nice.
And now we got a drag race off the Polaris launch zone.
And look at it, in just this brief amount of time, how much dust is out there, and I don't know who's set up for dry conditions, but you were definitely going to love things later on in this race. What a run by Sean Morris. He wants to win so bad.
Well, Sean Morris finding himself in a similar position as round 5, starting to put a little bit of gap on that Ponzi truck there of Cody Kleiman, but man, Sean's on it this weekend. He's definitely got that truck figured out over there. The Flying Dutchman crew's got him dialed in.
Yeah, Sean Morris finished second at the last round. He's got Cody and Kyle climbing on his tail, and Andrew Carlson just behind him. Let's go down to Kate Osborne.
Well, Andrew Carlson there in the hot pit before that restart said that he had a rock. Rock was his issue. He's back out running and racing. But I wanted to add about Sean Morris. is the fact that Sean is one of those guys that, you know, Robbie, we've talked about before, that he is not very confident when he's out leading. He likes to be chasing. And I asked him earlier today how he feels he's doing with that. And he said, well, in round 5, one of his biggest mistakes was that he was protecting and made a big mental mistake. He said he's going to be running out there today knowing that he has a truck that's fast and is going to try and stay as focused and, as he said, not an angry leprechaun, as he's going to be leading out in front.
Yeah, the leprechaun, as he's called so often, and he has that leprechaun mascot in his pit at each and every stop. And this is still the first half of the race. After lap 4, they'll have to re-rack and restack on the competition caution. No mistakes right now, but it's really that back half of the race. If you're in front and you're starting to see holes develop, you're going to have to change things up. Defensive lines can really get you in trouble when the track starts going away on you.
Absolutely, and Sean was running a strong race yesterday. It's just going to be holding that confidence all the way until the end of the race.
27, Kenda Tire Industry looking good out of Colorado. Again, he finished second in the last round and third in the round before that, but he started off the season with 2 7th-place finishes. That's why he's currently in 4th in series points, some 21 points behind Kyle Kleiman. Right now, he's got both Kleimans behind him.
Well, he's got that clean air going for him right now, and maybe he'll get comfortable and like it a little bit more than chasing, like Kate had mentioned. But that Kenda Tire 27 truck is hauling the mail today.
Hear him on the throttle. As much roots as he can throw into the cockpit of Cody and Kyle Kleiman. Excellent speed shot there, as you see Carlson and Cam Reimers. Cam had a strong motor. He had a chance of finishing on the top spot yesterday, able to go finish in 3rd. Right now, Cam Reimers and Liquid Wrench 21 back in 5th spot.
Well, Sean taking advantage of that clean air, currently running the fastest lap of the race. All the lap times in the top 3, those stacking up pretty close with those Kleiman boys in tow.
It looked like Sean Morris in that first left-hand turn, the first time into that gravel pit. It looked like he was in no man's land, but he really made that outside working by doing the old over and under, getting by Cody. But right now, Cody is making a few mistakes, and Kyle's starting to pounce.
Well, Kyle's going where the traction is. The main line, as you can see, is getting very dry, but you see Kyle running the cushion much like Sean is, and where Sean made that big Hail Mary pass around the outside. So you're going to see the lines get chased further and further out. You see Kyle getting a hold of quite a bit of traction there. So as the Kleiman brothers duke it out, you see Sean Morris slowly creeping out of frame.
2 Ponzi trucks. Cody Kleiman is ahead of his brother, Kyle Kleiman. Kyle, the series points leader. A few victories to his credit for 2017, trying to make it another one here, going underneath. I think it's a good advantage. Even though he's in 3rd right now, he can do that opposite move. And Kate, you have more on either of these Kleimans?
Yeah, Cody Kleiman actually was one of those guys who we've talked about is learning how to have more and more confidence. Well, he told me that he's now working on being more consistent. He feels he has that confidence. He says he's learning to be comfy, being out of control. And it's interesting, as he's right now battling with his brother, it's really testing what he said he was sought out to work on here today.
Cody, the older brother, in 2nd place, the 25-year-old out of Wilson, Michigan. And Kyle just behind him in 2nd, 21 years of age. So the younger brother actually with the wins, but Cody's strong. He's up there. You know he has good equipment, both Ponzi drivers, but it's big Kyle for the most part this is prevailing.
Well, like Kate had the conversation with Cody, it is about running that edge, and you can see Kyle as he's trying to make the passes.
Ooh.
You know, he's skipping across the holes. He's running it on 2 wheels, and with these pro lights with limited suspension, limited power, you got to run these things right on the edge. So you see him starting to close back up on Sean Morris here, but Kyle giving it everything he's got to get around his older brother.
Cody started the year with a 3rd place finish, started on top of the box, a 6th, a 4th, and a 7th since then. Sean Morris still looking good. Clean air in front, a little gap behind. Everything's going his way, but no matter what the distance, whether it be the 2 seconds advantage he had that last lap, he's about to start nose to tail with either of these Kleimans.
Yeah, he's going to have to enjoy that gap while he's got it. You know, he's definitely got it figured out. He's got the clean air advantage. Let's see, Kyle's taking a big run down here on Cody. Let's see if he can try to make something stick before this mandatory caution, because he knows that if he's got any gap between Sean with the speed he's carrying right now, that could be the whole second half of the race.
It's huge to be in second place and not in third. Kyle's going to try and run it in. It's a slippery section now. You see how much dust, and Kyle getting pushed way wide. But if he can get it turned, he's actually going to have a pretty darn good drive. Both of the drivers looking the same. Putting those left front wheels on that inside. An excellent move. But look at this. Coming down to the last turn. Sean's going to take the lead at the halfway point. But will it be Kyle or Cody that takes second place? Crosses out.
Kleiman showdown drag race to the line. But
it looks like it's Cody coming across. So 48 ahead of the 42. That's the way they'll start. Morris, Kleiman, Carlson, and Reimers. Your top 5 here in the Pro Lights. And we'll find out who's going to win in the second half of Pro Light right after this.
Trailblade Tires, the weapon of choice for wherever you want to go.
Cooper tires on the ground, go round and round, round and round, round and round. Tires on the car are warranty. And what you need, the tires on the car help keep you safe. They grip the road when you hit the brakes.
Your tires matter, so count on Cooper. An American company since 1914.
The tires on the ground go round and round.
Nose to tail, that's the way they start for the second half of this Pro Light race. Sean Morris, the Leprechaun, is leading the way. Can he hold it? It's been a while. It's been since ERX last season since he's taken a win, and he's trying to do it again here. He's won here at Crandon before. Remember how emotional he was a couple of years ago when he won the World Championship, and he's going to set the pace in that acceleration zone. Can the Leprechaun, the 45-year-old out of California, the Marine, can he do it here at Crandon?
And off he goes. That little bit of a gap, that's the fun part about being the guy on the point, but you see Cody taking a look to the inside. But again, like I said, that cushion's coming into play. He's got those Kendas working good. Kyle's going to look to make a run here, trying to get every bit of traction possible.
Absolutely, and and you don't want Andrew Carlson in there too soon either, because Carlson's going to get in between those two Kleimans if he keeps it up at that pace. Look at him, he's all over Kyle right now, almost driving off the outside of that, and Sean able to gain some advantage into that gravel turn. Let's go to Kate.
Sean got second there in round 5. It was kind of like a victory for him. He said we did not touch the truck. If they made sure everything was as tight as it could. And he said with the last laugh, you know, we drank some beer out of a little celebration, but he did say his truck is seriously dialed. Now the second half of the race we saw in round 5 is where he started to, as he said, get a little angry leprechaun. You know, he's walking that fine line of getting angry and out of control versus using the pressure as motivation.
Right now, he's going to be angry if he lets Kyle Kleiman, because Kleiman is the fastest on the track this very moment. He was able to get by Cody. You see Andrew Carlson getting underneath as well. Cody Kleiman and another, is that Dinsmore?
Dinsmore's in the mix.
Yeah, and again, Dinsmore had a DNF yesterday, but now he's starting to get up there as well. This is anyone's game, but Kyle Kleiman's worked his way up. We'll see this next time around, just what his lap time is. So the fastest lap of the race, 1:28.0 for Sean Morris. Well, 0-1. It was only 1/100 of a second differential in the best lap between these two drivers right now. And again, Kyle's going to get a good drive on that outside. He can do something different than Sean.
He could. It looks like we might see a little bit of crossover maneuver. You can see it worked on him, worked on his brother. But Sean, again, using that cushion to get off the corner a little bit harder. Kyle's definitely going to have to work on it to get around Sean. Hopefully we see a happy Leprechaun all the way to the finish.
Motive Gear, Amsoil, Kenda Tires, Sean Morris out in front of the Ponzi machine of Kyle Kleiman, Maxxis Tire. Again, DOT entries. These are DOT tires. You can buy them in the store and put them on the racetrack. Sean Morris has a Kleiman all up in his business.
Kleiman's pulling some moves like me on Brad on round 5, but Sean not crumbling under pressure just yet. We're going to see Kyle go to put a little bit of pressure on, but Leprechaun just running that nice smooth line out on the cushion as this track deteriorates.
Sean Morris, an admitted bad qualifier, but this is about the race, and right now he is really put that truck in a perfect position, but Kyle Kleiman goes underneath. If he takes the line, Sean's going to have to do the over and under. He's got a good drive. We've got a drag race. Luke Johnson heading into the Forest County Potawatomi first turn. It looks like a replay of yesterday.
It looks just like a replay of yesterday, but we have a few more laps to go, so maybe Leprechaun, after a gnarly bicycle right there, maybe he can regroup and catch Kyle Kleiman.
I think this looks like the last round right there as they head down that front straightaway, and Travis Dinsmore is closing in. The last lap, 2.8 behind Kyle Kleiman, or our leader that last time around, and it's getting closer.
So you see Kyle opening up that corner now, using the lines that Leprechaun was using to hold down that lead. So you see the Ponzi 42 truck starting to stretch a little bit of a lead out. You know, maybe have a little bit better gearing today or something like that, but got a hold of that #1 spot.
You see Kleiman leading Morris, Dinsmore back in third. Let's go to Kate Osborne.
As you guys are talking, a repeat of round 5. I asked Kyle what he was thinking during the second half of the race. He said, you know, I'm not stupid. I was just trying to follow him for a little bit. He said I had to rattle him. Sean's not stupid either, and he said he was going to do all he could to put pressure under him and rattle him. You saw that he did that exact same thing here today.
Well, Travis Dinsmore about to rattle the cage, Kate, as the Canadian and the Enduro Tires VP Racing Fuels Ford is starting to close in third. Sean Morris is in second. I don't think Kyle really rattled him. I think he just drove a little bit better line here or there. But you know when Dinsmore comes up next to you, sometimes you're going, oh, I don't know what he's going to do, especially when you hadn't seen him throughout the year.
Yeah, this is, I guess, his second round back with us here at the TORC Series in 2017. But this track's going away quick, and some of the holes are getting pretty big. And with these top couple guys running on the edge, a mistake is inevitable at some point. It's all in how you recover from it. That's what makes these guys pros. So Kyle looking comfortable up there in the front. Sean not giving up the fight, keeping a consistent gap here. Just trying not to make any mistakes and hoping that Kyle has one.
And Travis is fast back there in third as well. And again, round 5 is his first stop in the TORC the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. A very fast driver out of Canada. I always expect to see Dinsmore out front, and if he's closing in, maybe the truck was set up for the drier conditions later on, because he didn't look that fast early on.
No, and he got tangled up in some of that beforehand and working through the field as these guys have been up in the front. But let's see, our new leader, Kyle, is taking fine after making his passes to get up there.
1.9 seconds that last lap. Kyle Kleiman had the advantage, and Kleiman with the fastest lap of the race. I knew he had to be the fastest, because it's literally only a 1/10 of a second over Sean Morris on that very first lap. But that last lap by Kleiman, a 1:27.93, the only driver in that 1:27 range. And things are starting to heat up. Kenda versus Arturo, 2 and 3 as you see him on the track.
Sean with a small mistake getting into that cushion a little bit deep. Just pretty thick down there in the hairpin. And the crazy Canadian making a run for us. So you see him, like I said yesterday, you're not going to pass him by driving through him. So you see him trying the top and the bottom, looking for traction. There's some traction on both edges, but Sean not giving up the fight.
You're seeing Dinsmore also throwing that thing around like a Pro 2 or Pro 4, except these trucks don't have an interliner. You could run a set of Maypops here really quick if you roll it off the rim. Yep. And there's the change for second. Morris goes too wide and really set up as Dinsmore, but watch out, Morris is going to have something to say about it, and Morris dives into the inside. Kleiman's going to take the white flag. Morris on the inside here trying to get by. In the dry conditions, you see Kyle Kleiman still fighting that truck, even though he's out in front.
Yeah, these conditions don't care which spot you're in. As you can see, everyone's having their own battles with that. Sean looking to pick up a little bit of a push. And you see a big mistake from the Canadian as we get a run from the Kenda truck. It's going to be a drag race to the hairpin.
Out of Argonne and Sean trying to do the crossover. I'm sure the spotters are talking. You got to keep them guessing. Don't set up too early. Sean's going to take a dive to the inside if he squares it up. Is he going to get that drive? He does. Over-rotates a little bit, but then again, oh, he had to make that extra turn, and I think that's going to cost him.
Yeah, well, this battle going on, you see Carlson starting to make his way into the shot as well. You don't want to make a mistake and lose a spot entirely.
A lot of horsepower still in the Pro Light division as Kyle Kleiman trying to motor away on this final lap They took the white just a moment ago. Has 2 more turns, a big bending left. They call this turn the gravel pit turn. It'll be followed by the right-hander and that AMSOIL finish line, and who will take that Yamaha checker flag first? Right now, it's been Ponzi of Kyle Kleiman. So far, he's got the TORC turkey. He's won 3 in a row, but this right-hander will be a convincing victory once again. 4 wins and 5 tries for Kyle Kleiman in Pro Light for 2017. Travis Dinsmore in the Atturo Tire truck takes second, and another podium for Sean Morris in third. Andrew Carlson back there in fourth. He got to see a great race. He wanted to get on the box, but just come up a little short. We'll hear from him when we return.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Rugged radios. Work, race, play.
Hey, Steve, where you at?
Experience clear communications through headsets or helmet kits.
I'm up on the hill to your right. Oh, there you are.
Talk vehicle to vehicle.
Keep radio contact going. Copy?
Talk to passengers.
Copy that, I gotcha.
And stream your favorite music. Complete communications for UTVs, base camp, toy haulers, or off-road vehicles. Rugged radios. The authority in communications.
TORC, the Off-Road Championship, is brought to you by AMSOIL, devoted to protection, and by Cooper Tires. We make tires for people, not just cars.
It's been a near-perfect season for the Ponzi number 42 of Kyle Kleiman. That makes it 4 wins in a row and 5 tries, and if it wasn't for that rollover at the first round of Chicago, he may have that perfect season going. Kyle Kleiman takes the win here in Crandon, and Kate Osborne's down with him.
Very soft dirt and mud down here, Kyle. You just worked your way through that for sure. You had to work for that first. That was a battle really from start to finish. You picked them off one by one, and you capitalized on the mistake of Sean there, which we were talking about earlier today. What was the key for this win?
Consistency. You know, the track got pretty rough over time, but I mean, for what it was this morning and what the crew and everything did with it, it was pretty impressive what it came around to be. You know, it was a hit and miss on some spots, you know, trying to work, and you didn't have a whole lot of line choices, and you had to kind of go for it sometimes. And you know, those guys up front were running a good pace. It was hard to keep up with them, and then I kind of just capitalized on some mistakes, found some lines here and there. But you know, hats off to Ponzi, my crew, Max's Tires, J&H Pro Power, Dynamic Torque Converters, everybody else that helps us out. You know, big hats off to you guys. Thank you so much.
You know, Kyle, an almost perfect season here, minus that first round one. What's been the secret this year?
Determination, I guess. You know, I want that championship this year, and I'm just going to take it 1 race at a time and just go from there.
Kyle Kleiman, first place here in Pro Light.
Thanks, Kate. And yeah, he's determined to take the championship this year. As he was in the running, but Kyle Hart took it in 2016. As you see the unofficial results, slightly different than the round before, with Travis Dinsmore working his way up after that DNF yesterday. He has to be somewhat pleased with that second place finish today, Kate.
Yeah, he just actually said it is good to be back. Travis Dinsmore, it's nice to see you on the podium here, but that wasn't easy for you. It was not an easy podium, but you like Crandon. Why are you strong here?
You know, I just think we've been here enough. You know, we found a good setup that worked. We stuck with it. We put the time in, and, you know, it paid off in the long run. We had a really, really tough race at the beginning. I couldn't get around Cam. He kept closing the door on me, even though we were a little bit faster, but, you know, we were patient. And eventually we just worked our way up through. I didn't get enough time to chase Kyle down, and wish I had another 4 or 5 laps, and maybe it would have been more exciting. But, you know, I just like to thank my family back home, my wife, my kids. You know, they couldn't be here this weekend. And I got to thank my dad. He pretty much put this truck together while I was working to get us here this weekend. You know, and everybody else, Ryan, Jess, everybody that's really helped us out to get here. Thank you.
Good to see him back. Travis Dinsmore.
Yes, and Cade, you're right. He is always fast here at Crandon. A two-time winner last year here at Crandon alone. As you look at the points championship, who's tied for second? Everybody's tied for second. Carlson, Reimers, and Sean Morris, 25 points behind. But you keep clicking off these wins when you're Kyle Kleiman. Things are looking good as you're about a third of the way through the championship hunt. And Sean Morris, he was up front again, but just couldn't quite hold on, Kate.
Tough race for Sean Morris. I think the podium is something to be excited about, but you probably learned a lot through that entire race. What was your takeaway here today?
Well, you know, across the whole weekend, Kate, I think I was a pretty dominant truck. Twice I've made 3 mistakes this whole weekend, and I got past 3 times. I think I was stuck to my lines a little better, but I think the track kept deteriorating. We're trying to do it the best we could with it. It's tough when it gets muddy like this and it starts clumping up. I mean, but hats off to the sweep for Kyle Kleiman and for Travis coming out here and showing what he's been about all the time. So, you know, number one thing, I'd like to thank Kenda Tires for being here, AMSOIL, Pack Springs, Method Race Wheels, Dynamic Torque Converters, FK Rod Bearings, everybody that always supports me. Thank you so much for what you always guys do for me. Thank my team and Mikey Van Hool. He is one hell of a guy.
2 podiums for Sean Morris in a row. Congratulations.
Ominous looking clouds as the racing day is done for the trucks for now. We still have a cup race here in just a moment, Luke Johnson, and as you'll have to prepare to get back in your truck, for all of our fans watching on TORCseries.com and all the fans here, there's still a lot of sportsman action in between. We also have to take care of some business in our Vision Wheels Bad Mofo Award. They've taken my wallet from me and $250 that'll go with it. We're about to find out shortly who's going to win that. And they'll prep the track, get ready for the sportsman, and then you got that cup race coming up in a minute. Pumping that fuel out, pumping more stuff back in. You ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. It was definitely a heartbreak earlier in the points race. Having my first ever hole shot at Crandon, that was quite the experience. Quite the experience to have it followed up with those small fuel issues. Were definitely a heartbreak, especially to find out that we were almost tied for that fast lap. So my team's doing an awesome job getting everything ready. Got Charlie from ATD and the boys from Pro Power making sure that entire drivetrain is going to be ready to go. And we had the speed, so I got something to prove when we get out there for that cup race. So I'm excited to dice it up and see how we pair up against those Pro 4s.
Yeah, you talk about with the Pro Power and the equipment, the engines. One thing is yeah, I didn't want to run very well, but you could also do damage to an engine when you run on water. Water and the engines don't work so well, so you got to hope it didn't do a few bad things to it as well.
Yeah, I believe it ran a little bit through. I mean, the last couple laps of the race where they said my fastest lap was my last lap, and I think things started to kind of clear out, whether the water and fuel started to separate a little bit, and we were getting a little bit more fuel than water towards the end, but first couple laps it was dying all over the place. So I'm not really sure, you know, from inside the truck wasn't exactly sure what the cause was, but upon inspection before coming up here, found out it was water.
We still don't know what the delta is for the cup race that you'll see in a little bit, and Luke's going to be in that. Let me take a look at my list again to kind of tease this thing, because Scott Rain and Brent Smith, Tiffany Simons, Tiffany Stone, I know Tiffany Simons as well, they're going to take back over for the sportsman stuff. But looking at this list, Brad Lovell, Luke Johnson, Hannah Graff. What's that?
Who's that guy?
Oh, yeah, Luke Johnson. Mark Peterson. Then you got Pro 4, C.J. Greaves, Johnny Greaves, Keegan Kincaid, Ross Hook, Kent Brasho, Scott Douglas, and Chad Horde. These are guys that pre-signed up, and there may be a few more. They've got to set that delta. You're looking at the skies. We're in our booth, but looking out there, things are starting to get darker and ominous. I know you want as much advantage as possible. What do you think that advantage is going to be for the Pro 2s over the Pro 4s?
Well, as we saw, the lap times in Pro 4 were about a 1:19, and the Pro 2s, you know, the fast lap time between Brad and I was at a 1:26. So you're looking at about a 7-second spread per lap, and they're talking about a 9-lap race. So you do 9 times 7. You're looking, you know,
63.
Yep.
Is that 63? Right. I'm very Brad.
No.
Bad. 72.
No, but
9.763, isn't it?
Sure.
Okay. But
I'm usually good at this quick math, so I feel like now that I'm on the spot,
but
I'm
then again, you as that, if they set that delta for those of you at home, the 2s take off before the 4s. If they set that delta of whatever it is, then you got to hope it doesn't rain, because that, without a doubt, will help the Pro 4s.
Absolutely, and the thing is, here is it's going to be the first time you're going to see the projects versus the DOTs. Not to mention,
I didn't even think about that.
The power difference, the you know, and the 2 versus the 4 wheels spinning. So, you know, we could hope and pray that some of this weather's gonna stay up. Maybe we'll get a couple awesome sprinkles between then and now, and it'll put some moisture back into the track surface. But now that it's been raced on quite a bit, there's a hard crust there, as you've seen the blue groove throughout the day. So it's definitely going to be interesting. I propose that with the time split, that maybe we do it opposite this year, that the Pro 4s actually start first, the Pro 2s start behind. The Pro 4s actually have to do 10 laps, where the Pro 2s do 9 laps. At the finish line, you would see who is the
best.
Who is the victor?
I've been told also the Sportsman, you can stay tuned on TORCseries.com. We may step aside for just a bit, and Scott and Brent take over in just a moment. But TORCseries.com, we will resume with the Sportsman Racing here in just a little bit for Torque the Off-Road Championship presented by AMSOIL. We're looking out our window, and the wind's starting to blow.
Seeing a little bit of sunshine.
Yeah, sunshine with a lot of dark clouds. there it is.
I don't want to see that.
And sometimes the picture on camera doesn't really show it to you because it looks a little brighter than it actually is due to the camera, the way it takes in light. That's looking pretty dark.
Well, we talk about it all the time. The Crandon crew does an awesome job with mitigating the weather here. And there's someone who's actually missing from the track this weekend due to an ankle injury, I believe, and that's Gopher. Was usually one to put up a dome around this place. You see stuff on the radar, and you wonder how it misses a place, but something about Gopher that makes makes it interesting and keeps the rain away most of the time.
I want to remind everybody the Forest County Potawatomi Community Cup will be at about 6:45 locally, about 6:45 here locally, and that's assuming the weather and everything. But you see those tall treetops, they are whipping right now. But they can race in the rain. They do try and race in the rain. As long as the safety trucks can go out there and take care of their business properly, they will have a race. So,
and
again,
as long as there's no lightning along with the rain, because you get a bunch of those awesome camera guys giving us these shots right now are like beacons.
Yeah, you don't want to be on that
no.
spotter's tower as well. But, yeah, you are exactly right. As we look at the infamous and famous all at the same time, Forest County Potawatomi first turn. Luke, I think, oh, look at that. There's nothing like rain in the forecast, and they're having to lay down water, but you have to.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a tough deal. I mean, they're making the best out of what they can. I mean, we saw dust in the last race, and it looks like the rain's holding in the distance, which I pray and hope for, but they're going to definitely need to get some water in that surface. Otherwise, these guys aren't going to be able to see through the dust.
Wouldn't mind a 250F out there into the woods having some fun right about now.
I've had my fair share of fun back there on a 110. There's some fun trails out there in the trees. When you spend quite a bit of time back here, you get to do a little bit of exploring. And me and my buddy Doug Matag and Jared Brooks, when they were racing back here in the pro lights against me, we built some jumps back there and had a good old time.
Taking a lap out there with the boys in Tyrone. All right, it's time to go to the Vision Wheels Bad Mofo Award. Let's find out who's going to win it. Is Tiffany Stone down trackside? There she is. Beautiful Miss Torque. Tiffany, take it away.
Thank you, guys. I am here with one of the best awards we have for the 2017 year. It is the Vision Wheel Bad Mofo Award. Not only do they get this cool customized wallet that does say the Big House Brawl in there, they're going to get $250. And this is all based on being a bad mofo here in Crandon. And I would like to give you guys the honor of saying who our bad mofo is this today, and that is going to be Mr. Keegan Kincaid. Keegan, congratulations. This is pretty much for taking over that Pro 4 race, taking over the lead lots of the times, that big battle with Johnny, and that is what makes you a Vision Wheel Bad Mofo. How are you feeling?
I feel great. You know, we worked hard, and we finally got this truck, you know, really close, and we were battling hard. And you know, I can't thank Vision Wheel enough for putting on this award. You know, this is awesome. You know, it's something that you'll remember for forever. And this is the first one, but I guarantee there's going to be many more to come, and it's just the beginning. So we look forward to continually progressing and hopefully get, you know, a couple more of these and come away with the baddest mofo of the year. So I can't thank Vision enough, everybody that's helped me put in the hard work, and hopefully we can continue to do this.
Well, I know you got to be excited, especially going into that Cup race tonight. You got this $250 going into the Cup race as a bad mofo. Congratulations, Keegan Kincaid. Back up to you guys.
Thanks, Tiff. And forget everything I said about the time because you can't count on it. Everything I say is officially unofficial. But one thing I know is stick with us at TORCseries.com. You'll see that man hop into his Pro 4-wheel drive and face the man to my left, Luke Johnson. Oh, don't show the 10, show all the 20s, Keegan.
No, but it's awesome. I mean, I've been pitting with the Kincaids. They're an awesome family, and Keegan and I have been friends and teammates once before. But now you got a couple bad mofos under 110.
Yes,
that's going to be some energy going into that Cup race. But well earned by Keegan, that's for sure. It's awesome because now you've had in five different days of racing, you have 5 different bad mofos. So you never know where it's going to come from. Yesterday, Ross Hook putting down quite the run for that. You know, Kyle Kleiman taking one home, CJ, and you know me, Mr. Trivial Pursuit, the first bad mofo coming out of faking everyone out that I wasn't showing up.
Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe
it's
we
always
try
a pleasure.
Try us again, or I know your dad's going to probably be.
I know my dad's going to come steal this job from me. So I mean, it's cool. It probably give me a little bit more time to go, like, you know, spend some time with my truck, but definitely enjoy being in the booth.
And I'd like to thank Johnny Greaves as well. Make sure you tune in to TORCseries.com on behalf of all of our crew here at MSI and TORC. It's been a great race. We still have plenty more sportsman action ahead. TORCseries.com. Stick with us. I'm Robbie Boyd for Luke Johnson and Johnny Greaves. We'll see you here in just a bit.